Tuamie.
Time's up, Michael. It's coming. Time's up, Michael. The blast from the past. I know it, kid. I know it. California girls. Michael, I don't see the appeal of these songs. They're all about surfing, sun, and girls in bikinis. What exactly is the allure of Southern California?
You just said it, pal. Thanks to the foundation, that's our next stop.
California Girls by the Beach Boys.
Oh, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Alright guys, welcome to the Brownstone Powwwow. Happy trails / XXX life. I hope y'all dig my whole entire wannabe ASMR jump off, you know what I'm saying? But tonight's episode, there's no inspiration to this. I was just thinking on some stuff about being a little freaky, but then again, it's like certain topics about sex, okay? Something about the conversation of sex that's just I want to expand on tonight that I thought was like pretty much remarkable. So I got a couple of clips, I got a couple of like things I got in my notes tonight to talk about sex, because this is the thing. This is the reason why I thought about doing this episode. So there was a conversation about what BDSM, pegging, and then it was something, and then about eating the groceries. Because commonly a lot of dudes have no problem talking about, oh yeah, I'll eat the groceries. And I'll be sitting up there looking at them like, yo, you eat the groceries, fam? And I'll just be like, nah, that's not my life, kid. That's not me, bro. If that's you, then that's you. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not into that. And there's girls that sexual partners I've had in the past. It's like, yo, do you eat the groceries? I'm like, nah, I don't eat the groceries. I'm not with all that. And I'm like, what? I understand people want to be experimental, but it's like the connotation from women that I had in the past would say some certain things like, oh, that's you kind of boring. Oh, you don't want to spice it up in the bedroom. I was like, but I mean, honestly, when it comes to sex, I mean, if you know what you're doing, you don't really need to experiment. But I mean, to each his own, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not here to judge anybody on it, but it's just not my thing. Like, y'all out here sitting up there talking about y'all eat the groceries. Like, what? Like, that's y'all shit? That's not my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a whole entire thing. Like, y'all know what I mean. But the reason why I want to bring this up is because if you've been paying attention to if you've been paying attention to my videos that I did in the past, like I've been talking about how they're trying to get men to basically do the same thing that women do, and that they expose these openness about sexuality and sexual fluidity and weird shit now. Like they like I know brothers that's listening to this right now, y'all wouldn't do this. You know what I'm saying? Y'all just straight up like, yeah, I want the punani. That's what I want. I don't want all that weird ass shit. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not talking to y'all. I'm just trying to expose y'all to the dudes out there that has this whole entire liberal mindset in which they try to say, oh yeah, you know, I have no problem experimenting and all this other stuff, and then yo son, like I don't know, like this whole thing about pegging it's none of my business, because I would never want a woman to peg me. Fuck no. Never gonna happen. But you got things like BDSM. You got things like people get orgasm. Okay, tantric sex, that's a thing, right? And then we're also talking about something as crazy as like bondage, right? And I don't know who knows about bondage, but I seen something crazy when I was out in Brooklyn, when I used to go to these like hipster bars or whatever. And they used to have either men or women, right? They like to get tied up. You know what I'm saying? And you get some type of sexual gratification off of that. Then there was something like a woman would like to have wax poured over her body. Like you could pour wax still melting on this woman's body, and she liked that shit. And she would be an exhibitionist at the event. And all you had to do at the event was either look at her, or you can take off the wax off of her body. So you can take it off her nipples, her private area, all this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad Phoenix is here. Because this is also educational as well. So, you know, it's all love. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the whole wax, Phoenix. All I know is some fucking wax, all right? I'm not used to this shit. I know you might be, because you might be knowledgeable on it. I'm not knowledgeable with it. You know what I'm saying? I know about the whole entire, bondage thing. Them people getting tied up, and they do get some type of, I'm not gonna say they get an orgasm off of it, but they like it. You know what I'm saying? And then the wax thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, y'all. Then there's this whole thing about foot jobs, foot fetish, right? This is my whole, look, listen, however you want to get your nut is your business, man. But I'm not used to hearing dudes openly say they got a foot job from their woman, okay? Or that you have, like, you know, sex, like you put your thing in between a woman's boobs. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing wrong with that, you know what I'm saying? I want to know what role play is. That we can talk about that tonight. But that's an interesting topic of conversation, right? So dudes obviously have foot fetish, right? Dudes like smelling women's panties. Dudes like getting their nuts trampled on. That's true. Whoever said that in the chat, you know what I'm saying? I haven't heard of a sneaker fetish, Phoenix. I don't know what that is. I mean, now you're talking about sneaker fetish, like someone that have their sneakers on and stomp on a dude's nuts, and he gets horny off of that. What's a sneaker fetish? Because the only sneaker fetish I know is not that. It's actual dudes that's into sneakers. You know what I'm saying? So that's not the same thing that I think that's what I'm thinking about. But you could explain that to me. But foot fetish, being into toes. Now this is my thing. I like a woman that got nice feet. But I'm not stressing and I'm not wilding out if I'm like, yo, like, oh my God, she has purple nail polish or she wore orange nail polish today. Like, oh my God, her feet. And I've seen dudes like literally jaws drop when they see women coming outside with sandals and they get their feet done. You understand? Like, listen, man. I'll tell you like this. I'm trying to decide between, right. Peace to you, Kamel. Thanks for coming. But I'm trying to decide. Look, listen. I'm trying to decide on something, man. I want to know, dudes that's in this chat right now. Are you an ass man or are you a boob man? Are you a titty man or are you an ass man? Because this is my thing about it. I like a woman that's just well figured. Petite women can be figured. Athletic women can be figured. And thick women can be figured. I'm not going to say fat women because there draws a line on fat women. If you're the type of dude that likes Lizzo, that's your business. I'm sorry to use her as an example. Adele even dropped weight, right? But there's a limit. There's a specialness to the body types of women, okay? And I'm still trying to decide whether I'm a titty man or I'm an ass man. And I'm not going to lie to you, it just makes it seem like I'm starting to become more of an ass man. Why is that? Because a woman can get away with having B to C cups and a fat ass. A cups, yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you the itty bitty titty committee, it's alright. It's alright because there's a lot of petite women that are sexy. Definitely sexy. And they don't have to have the big old titties and the big old ass. But I feel like when it comes to women, the ass saves you. Okay? The ass, when you have ass and you got a little bit of titties, I could work with that. You know what I'm saying? Drop it down for a real dude. Drop down and get your eagle on. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. So I definitely think I'm starting to become more of an ass man. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a little bit weird to me when you have a shorty that got big ass titties and she ain't got no ass. She got big ass titties, but ass is square shaped. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to shame nobody. I'm just saying it's weird to me sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did a video on this way back when I was talking about body figures and stuff like that on a panel. But tonight, you damn right, drop down and get your eagle on. You understand what I'm saying? Twerking for a real gentleman. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? But that's just my whole odds on it. I think I'm more of an ass man. But like, getting into this conversation, the experimental route, I'll be surprised to tell you guys this. I'm putting myself out there. I have no problem putting myself on trial. Never did a threesome. And I know there's a lot of people that talk about, oh yeah, I did a threesome, blah, 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 blah. I was like, I've never did a threesome. Never did a threesome. And I'm like, when I try it, I really don't care to. I think I'm one of those dudes that never really cared for a threesome. I'm just like, good sex between me and my partner is fine. Or whoever I'm having sex with. You know what I'm saying? We can experiment under the sheets and do some real crazy shit. And then there's some dudes or women that's into getting pissed on. Like, I'm not trying to expose my man's business. He told me there was some girl that he was with, and she was into getting pissed on. Golden showers. Sorry that R. Kelly comes to mind. Sorry he comes to mind. But like, legally, like, she really liked it. Getting peed on. Okay? Then I found some disturbing shit online that's called the Hot Carl's Lunch. I can't even fathom stuff. And of course, I got it from urbandictionary.com, okay? Like, I got it from there, and I was just like, what the hell is this? So, peep this for a second. I'm about to share my screen real quick with you guys so I can show you what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? So, the whole entire concept, right? Hold up, y'all. Let me share my screen, y'all. The golden experience. Well, all I know is golden showers, and piss play is part of humiliation. Yeah, I heard about that before, Phoenix. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, that's crazy. So So if you look at your screen right now, remember we was talking about groceries, right? When we was talking about the whole thing with that song in 2014, right? With Omarion and who's it? What's her name? Aiko, Janae Aiko. And so I had this whole phenomenon came out, and I was just to read the definition for people who don't know what groceries is. This is a reference to the song Posed to Be by Omarion. In the song, Janae Aiko refers to her booty as groceries. It is a sex term. He eats food, and he figuratively eats her ass in a sexual way. It is now a pop culture reference. Instead of ass, one says groceries, only in sexual context. And yeah, like, but that's what I'm gonna get into. That's what I'm gonna get into, Phoenix. The thing about it is now that we all know that when it comes to eating groceries, obviously it's about eating the ass, tossing a salad. But we all know that tossing a salad was usually something that was referring to homosexual men. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a male equivalent of eating the box, of, you know, eating the puss. You know what I'm saying? That was for men though. So now it's the conversation that they have where they're like men can do that to women and women can do that to men, but now it's switched, right? Because now they can sit up there and say it's a rim job. And y'all know what a rim job is, right? I don't have to explain what a rim job is. So that's what they like. They're into, you know, eating the groceries or a rim job. And then you have dudes that's more expansive that likes to get pegged. Okay, like I heard this whole entire thing about the peg community and all this other stuff, you understand? And I was just like, what the fuck is that? Like, but women have asked me in the past, do I eat ass? Yes, and I'm fully aware that women, okay, so this is what I learned about the anal cavity or whatever and stuff like that. There is a such thing as ejaculation out the anal, okay? I don't know if it happens for women, but there's some type of gland in a man where he can actually become anally orgasmic. And he can actually produce some type of, you know, some type of liquids out of that thing. And I'm not talking about, you know what, the prostate, yes. There's a prostate, the prostate gland, and it can produce some type of liquid that comes out of there, okay? But, okay, Kamel, but like you, okay. Ren job doesn't eat, okay. Okay, look, listen, don't mind me if I think they're you, but it's still similar though. You understand what I'm saying, Kamel? It's still similar. You know what I'm saying? You're still eating near the booty hole or the booty hole. Okay? So I mean it's still the same. It's still okay, it's still similar. Even if you're saying at the surface. Yes, it's the prostate gland and dudes can come from there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like that. Y'all got me messed up tonight, yo. You know what I'm saying? No, they don't have it. Yeah, I know. Women don't have a prostate gland. Like, yeah. Let me read this. Phoenix says, women don't have prostate, but our clits internally wrap all around 360, so pressure in certain back spots can feel good. Think of reverse cowgirl. Look, listen. I'm smiling because reverse cowgirl does the trick. You know, everybody's favorite style is doggy style, but reverse cowgirl, that thing right there, you gotta know what you're doing though, because certain shorties can't be doing it. They don't know how to, you know, they don't know how to get their freak on. They be sitting up there tapping out after a while. You understand? So I got some more stuff for you guys. I think I got another video for you guys. Hold on for just a second. I think I got another video, some certain terms I want to go over before I drop the link for tonight. Hold up. Alright, so y'all remember this term called hot coffee? Now, I remember this term like it was supposed to be a term from Grand Theft Auto, but I actually find it funny. This is the reason I find it funny, because I really do want to use it in conversation with the woman, like with the woman, at whatever woman I court in the future, Like, can I have some hot coffee? Can we come over to my house for some hot coffee? It's just like it's a funny ass term because it's subtle. You know what I'm saying? And I know certain dudes in the manosphere, yeah, certain dudes in the manosphere, you know, usually they talk about this mode 1, mode 2 that comes from Alan Roger Curry, I think his name is, that has that book on mode 1 and mode 2. And basically the breakdown is mode 1 is a direct approach to women when it comes to sex, but mode 2 is more of a subtle way when it comes to approaching women. But I guess if you're talking about hot coffee, that would be a mode 2. Because it's not like you're saying to a woman, hey, let's fuck, right? What you're saying to a woman is, let's have some hot coffee. Let's go ahead and flip them beans. Flip those beans. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what it means. Like right now it says in the definition, a term used when one wants to meet for casual sex. Hey babe, how about we go for some hot coffee? Okay? Yes, that never heard of hot coffee, now you heard of hot coffee. But the reference I think came from Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is when they sat there and was talking about hot coffee. Because I haven't heard of hot coffee before then. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when I heard about hot coffee. So, yeah, that's the main part on that. You know, but yeah, just that would be, I believe that would be considered mode 2. Mode 1 is just like, yo, I want to fuck. Can you come back to my house so we can fuck? And I don't know about y'all. Like, do y'all like the subtle approach or do y'all like the direct approach? Like, that's something I want to ask tonight. If it comes to, and it comes to men, because men, women have to understand that men also like being approached too. But I mean, it'd be really random if a woman comes up to you and say, yo, I'm trying to fuck, yo. I'm trying to see what that dick is like. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's wild weird. Like, if it's your girl, you know what I'm saying? It's somebody you courting. I mean, in certain circumstances, like, she has to say it in a way like, yo, I'm trying to smash. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, horny as hell right now, okay? And I'm just being real with you because it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. But I want y'all to be prepared for the next thing, the next article I got on here. I want y'all to be prepared. If y'all can handle this and be mature about this, you know, I hope that y'all can deal with this accordingly. Because this next thing off of Urban Dictionary is crazy. Because there's something called the hot car lunch. But I don't want to tell you about it because it's really disturbing. But they have something like, they have something called a hot Carl surprise. This is the act of rubbing it out, aka masturbating, then smacking the pay dirt of your labor into someone's face. So that is fucking weird. So you masturbate, right? And then this sperm, you smack the shit out of something. Like, you smack your girl with that. Like, that's called a hot Carl surprise. But then there's something called a hot Carl lunch, and that involves a different type of excrement, okay? And it's just some wild ass shit, okay? Some wild ass shit that I don't really want to talk about. Yeah, we gonna look that up tonight. And whatever I find it, Phoenix, we'll look it up tonight and we could just talk about it because that shit was crazy. So I got that out the way. Hold up. Yeah, it's about humiliation, but like I've never, okay. So this is a thing that I wonder about, right? No, it's not, it like, okay. So what I gather from hot Carl lunch, okay, it's supposed to be something like someone likes getting shitted on their chest or something like that. It's some type, it is a part of humiliation, but like they like getting shitted on. It's weird. Like, I mean, I know y'all know 2 girls, 1 cup, but that's not the same thing. And it's disgusting now that I think about it, right? I don't remember how it goes. I tried to look for I tried to look around for the definition of the hot Carl lunch, but I can't find it on Urban Dictionary right now. And like shit play, because there's somebody who told me about it's called scat. I heard that. I actually heard that from a fellow YouTuber. Yeah. And there's something I heard about those dudes that's out in, what is it? Not Saudi Arabia. Dubai. So a lot of these Instagram chicks go over to Dubai and you think they living it up. They living their life and they chilling with the Arab dudes, but then they get into the golden experience and they get into scat. They get into stuff like that, right? But it's never really talked about. And then, of course, you think about things like ghetto gaggers, right? Sorry to mention it, but ghetto gaggers. Like women giving fellatio to a man too much to the point that they throw up. They barf, okay? We getting real nasty tonight when it comes to this whole entire Happy Trails XXX life. Because it's about exploring different sexual practices, different sexual things that people are really into. I'm a basic dude, okay? I like the fellatio, the whole, as long as I can get my thing into the vagina, okay? That's all I like. I've tried certain things before, and I've been like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like crazy. Shouts to you, Garcia. You kind of wilding right now in the chat, bro. I see you, though. You know what I'm saying? But, I want to explore another articles with you guys. I want to talk about something with you guys. I don't want to read the whole thing. I'll share the article and when I edit the video so that you guys can get an idea of what I'm talking about. So I want to share an article with you guys real quick. Like 13 ways that a woman can orgasm. I don't know if this is something they put on. So let me show you guys real quick. You know what I'm saying? Check this out. So check this out. So it's 13 ways you could get off today. Happy National Orgasm Day. Today is the day to address not just how important orgasms are to female sexuality, but just how many of them you are capable of having. You may think that orgasms start and end with the clitoris, especially if you've yet to scope out your G-spot. Plenty of times I found that G-spot. You dig what I'm saying? But the clit is just the beginning of the fun. For example, did you know that you can have a cervical orgasm or an orgasm while kissing? That happened before. Not me, the girl that I made out with. She had really caught or orgasm off of us making out. So let's read this 13 together, shall we? So clitoral orgasm is the first one. With 70% of women needing clitoral stimulation during sex to orgasm, it makes this method one of the most common of them all. Whether you are with your partner, use your hands, a vibrator, or your favorite shower head, with the right amount of pressure and technique, you'll probably be able to get there. After all, the sole purpose of the clitoris is to provide pleasure. Everyone is different, so experiment with different amounts of pressure and movement to find what's most enjoyable for you. Nipple orgasm. I didn't even know, like, actually that's true. I know someone who really like having their nipples licked. You might not think they have anything to do with orgasms, but the reality is nipple and breasts are major erogenous zones. You might enjoy having them licked, sucked, touched, and caressed. Whatever feels best on this super sensitive area, it's not common to reach orgasm via nipple stimulation alone, but it's not impossible if it's entirely pleasurable. We all know the G-spot. I need to read that. Mental orgasm. The biggest sexual organ of all is the brain. In fact, mental orgasms are not an anomaly. Studies have found that although the numbers are small, women can think their way to orgasm. Yeah, that is true. Urethral orgasm. It may seem strange that the part of your body where your urine comes out could be stimulated, but it can. If you look at a diagram of the female anatomy, you'll see that the urethra is almost totally surrounded by the clitoris. Remember, your clit is way bigger than you think. So when your urethra or U-spot is stimulated, blood rushes to the opening and fluid within the Skene's gland begins its production. That fluid is what's released when a woman squirts while having an orgasm. Now, I'm going to pause this real quick, fellas. How many of y'all can confidently say that you made a woman squirt? Well, I guess queef, okay? How many of these brothers that's in the chat right now can confidently say that they made a woman squirt? If y'all did, put a 1 in the chat. I would like to see if y'all did all that. You understand? So, all right, cool. Skin orgasm. A skin orgasm or frizzins is the way your epidermis reacts to intense sensation. Along with trembling, sweating, and becoming flushed, a skin orgasm is also one of the sexual arousal. Music, especially, has been discovered to be the source of skin orgasms, and studies have found they can be addictive as hell. One of my favorites is kissing orgasms. I don't get orgasms off of kissings, by the way, just in case any of these women is asking me. No, I don't. A woman caught an orgasm with me kissing her. If you ever had one of those long, passionate kisses, you know that if you at least keep at it, kissing orgasms are real. Lips, being 100 times more sensitive than fingertips, are one of the most few erogenous zones on a woman. So it makes sense that 20% of women have experienced orgasms from kissing. It just takes a lot of focus and attention to every sensation you're feeling. Well, that counts if you like to be touchy and all this other stuff, you understand? So I'm trying to get through this so I can show y'all just a video real quick and we can get into the discussion. Cervical orgasm. When the cervix is stimulated, it affects the genital sensory cortex in the brain, resulting in an orgasm. But the thing with a cervical orgasm is that it's achieved from very deep penetration. And you know how we do, which can be painful for some women, but be careful. If you're experiencing any pain in your hopes of achieving a cervical orgasm, then back off for a little while and try something else. There's no sense in hurting yourself in the process. Sleep orgasm. While it is difficult to calculate how often this happens to women, it is possible to have an orgasm while you sleep. During an erotic or sensual dreams, women are able to come to orgasm. It has a lot to do with being deeply relaxed and letting your imagination go, which is helpful for having orgasms while awake too. Now this is the stuff that we discussed earlier, y'all, in the chat. We talked about this as well. We talked about anal orgasm. While many people like to use vibrators so they can orgasm, even without clitoral stimulation, you can still climax from anal sex. Anal orgasm can be reached via anal stimulation. It can be a wide range of practices: penetrating, licking, fingering, touching, rubbing, etc. Nah. And I'm not going to view no step-by-step guide. It's not me, man. Core orgasms. Also known as coregasms, having an orgasm while working out is something a lot of women experience, especially during ab exercises. According to Alfred Kinsey, in a 1953 paper he wrote for Sexual Behavior in the Human Female, 5% of women experience orgasms during exercise. Alright, so I need to get my membership to the gym. In 2013, Fitness Magazine reported that percentage to be at 10, probably because more women exercise now than they did in 1953. Okay? Second to last, blended orgasms. A blended orgasm is just what it sounds like. Orgasms from different parts of your body happening at once. Sounds too good to be true? Right. Although the most common blended orgasms can be attributed to both a G-spot and clitoral orgasm happening at once, considering how many other parts of the body can be stimulated to orgasm. You can have a blended orgasm that's pretty much all encompassing. And the last one says multiple orgasms. Not to be confused with blended orgasms, multiple orgasms are orgasms that happen one right after the other with no prolonged stopping in between. They're basically the thing that every woman wants to experience, and if she can get them blended, even better. Again, it can take some time to get to know your body well enough to achieve an orgasm of any kind. But if you'd like to try having a blended orgasm, nipple orgasm, or kissing orgasm, or National Orgasm Day, go ahead and start experimenting. And this article was originally posted July 31st. So July 31st is Original Orgasm Day? Let me know. So say, yes. So I got one more video about this joint. You feel what I'm saying? I wanted to talk about pegging, cause I've never really had an in-depth, like, I've never known any guy that confidently told me that they enjoy pegging. You know, like a couple of years ago, I think last year, the famous DJ Envy, was caught in a text message from Erica Mena about how they was exchanging text messages about how he liked to get his booty played with. And the fact of the matter that he enjoyed pegging. And I was looking up on YouTube today, having this conversation about pegging. I was just like, no, I would never get pegged. Hell no. Like, it is a domination ritual for, I guess it gives more credence to the woman. Not even I guess, it does, right? No, Phoenix, I don't know any submissive men. Listen, the only thing I've ever heard from dudes that's bizarre, like, the only thing dudes have ever talked to me about is they openly tell me, like, oh yeah, they masturbated, or they, what they do, what was it? They talked about how, like, this one dude that's cool with my friend, not me, he had sat up there and said that he believes in having a bro job. Now, I talked about this on another panel. A bro job is basically like your best friend giving you a blowjob as your bro. And I'm not with that shit. Even if you in heat, that stay away from me. Because that makes me think you got something going on and you're attracted to me sexually. And I'm a straight man, so I don't want nobody giving off the notion that you think that you're going to come along to Bronzebird Nest and mess with me. Like, it's not happening. So, I'm not with all that, you know what I'm saying? To each his own, but, like, you know, this whole entire thing about sexuality nowadays is starting to become crazy because a lot of people have their different mindsets of what it is. So, check this out, y'all. I want to play this video, and then I'm going to go on intermission and open the panel up so y'all can talk. But I just wanted to play this last video because they also talk. This guy got into a conversation about the pegging community. The guy that was actually interviewing the other guy, right? And so he was just talking about this, and I was just like, yo, this is crazy. Like, the pegging community. And then there was another video with a guy that was hunched over having his woman sit up there giving instructions on how to peg. Like, what is it? Okay, look, listen. What is it about pegging that dudes like? Like, to be overpowered by a woman? Like, I mean, look, there's, like, I feel like there's certain positions where a woman has a lead over a man. That's just me. Like, regular sex, if we do it the old-fashioned way, there's still positions where women is actually rocking it. And we sitting back like, okay, you taking control now. I'm just watching you doing your thing, and you going on and on and on and on, and I'm liking that shit. So you got it. You know what I mean? There's certain positions you know that a woman is doing her thing. She's doing the work. You sitting down and you just relaxing. You understand? Okay, but Phoenix, is it a man? Is it a man though? Okay, yeah. Because I've never really heard a dude that confidently told me that he's into pegging. Okay, I've never ever heard that ever. So it trips me out when I find out someone I know is like, yo, I'm into pegging. Or like, the only thing I've ever heard from a guy is they're like bisexual. You know what I'm saying? That's the only crazy thing I've ever heard of. Like, and it's not really crazy, but a guy told me like he had sex with girls and boys. And I'm sorry to say this, and I shouldn't judge people off of like, you know, what I'm not judging him off his sexual preference. Whoever you are is whoever you are, right? But just because knowing him, I never would have suspected he talks about having sex with men. Every time I talk to him, he always talked about, in his words, he's always talking about bitches, okay? And that's okay, so Phoenix, this is the ironic thing about pegging though. Because now, the conversation about that is, when you talk about pegging, if a man confidently says that he pegs, then someone's gonna call him gay for allowing his butthole to be penetrated by a woman, okay? Like, that's the crazy taboo about it, and I'm just trying to, like, tonight, I'm not gonna put my thoughts into this. I'm not. I'm just gonna be completely relaxed in my nest as Bronzebird, and I just want to hear people's perspectives about this. I don't have no words on this. I'm just learning this, all right? Because sex is amazing. Sex is awesome, okay? Like, certain things is like, I have certain things that turn me on. That's just regular shit. that nobody would guess when it comes to a woman. And I'll just be sitting there like, damn, she ain't even doing much, and I'm turned on by that. But when it comes to pegging, though, yeah, certain people may say that's gay. That a man is allowing themselves to have anal sex and a woman is using a dildo to go ahead and penetrate him. Even if it's just a woman that's doing that. But even eating groceries. Then they inject this whole entire thing about sodomy. So, it's whatever y'all think about this conversation tonight. Because this is going to be a great-ass conversation. I can already tell. You understand? And I got my educator, Phoenix, up in here. No, I know, but that's the thing. But Phoenix, to go off of that comment, yes, it's a double standard, right? Because we have an understanding. It's more of a restriction when it comes to man. How you got 2 accounts, dude? I never blocked you. Whatever. Okay, Garcia, you doing the most. I'm not. Okay. It's a double standard and it's a restriction. Why? Because when it comes to men, there's more of a restriction on sex than it is for women. Women are used to having, lesbian sex, and they can go back to being straight like it's nothing. And they can be anally penetrated and no one bats an eye. You know what I'm saying? All right, yeah, you're a sub. Okay, cool. So that's the thing that I'm talking about when it comes to pegging. Because when it comes to pegging for a man, they would be viewed as a bitch, for lack of a better term, or be viewed as a homosexual. Even if it's from a woman. Even if it's from a woman, it would be viewed as a homosexual. Just because of the fact of the matter, they got penetrated by even a fake penis. You understand what I'm saying? By a fake phallus. So, I want you guys to think about that. I'm about to play a video, and then I'm going to go into intermission and open the panel up. So, let me share my screen. Fair use.
Branded content for adamandeve.com, and they said I could ask whatever questions I want. There's some people that have been shaming the pegging community, and we'd love you to be on the forefront of telling people, like, listen, pegging is great.
The man having sex with the woman, then the woman putting on a strap on and dicking him down.
That's correct, yeah. What we'd like is for you to post the hashtag on your Instagram or Twitter, solidarity with pegging community.
No, I can't do that. I can't do that. The man want to get dick down, that's their business. But I'm not going to put my cosign that, and my wife see me cosign that. She think I want to get dick down.
But your wife might just say, oh my God, I'm happy that he's solidary with the pegging community.
Remember what I told you to double standard on, because his wife is going to be looking at him weird for agreeing to be pegged. She's going to be like, are you okay? Is there something you want to tell me? And that's why I'm saying there is a taboo that comes to that. You understand what I'm saying? Because even if he was open to the idea, his woman might not even look at him the same and might think that he might want to experiment, i.e. might want to play for the other team.
You know, I got.
Could you call your wife and maybe see if she'd be fine with you posting?
Brother, let me tell you something. I'm not even gonna mention nothing like that to my wife. Hell no. All my life, I've been accused of being gay. No bullshit, right? Been accused of being gay, right? All my fucking life. My family and certain friends. Now he got a woman. He got a woman dicking him down.
But what if you said hashtag solidarity with the pegging community and then you
see reputation?
said brackets, I'm not getting pegged personally, just want to clear that up.
I told you something on camera that I've spoken to no too many people about.
Do you want to watch a video of a pegging and see
no,
if you
hell
like it?
no, I don't know.
Okay.
No.
It might change your mind if you saw
I don't either. What the fuck? Why would I want to watch a video? No.
on the product.
I won't change my mind. No, I love pussy too much. And I can't see me flipping on a piece of pussy now.
But you wouldn't want to lick a dildo that was attached to a pussy. It's almost the same thing.
No, it ain't. No, it's not. I'm not against motherfucking hermaphrodites, because I had a hermaphrodite female, right? Kind of fairly large clit and shit.
Right.
But I wouldn't let that motherfucker stick that shit in my ass. Only thing on my ass is just toilet paper when I shit.
What if you wrap the dildo in toilet paper and you can sort of justify it that way?
No. I've heard where a motherfucker got dick down so bad where he couldn't even retain his bowels and shit. He had to wear motherfucking suppose or some shit or another, because he'd be shitting all the damn time. He was dick down bad, and he was begging for it. Motherfucker ain't so that fucking wide, man.
Right.
He couldn't even get dick down no more because he couldn't eat no fucking more.
So because
He had to
was
drink
shitting
soup.
too much?
He had to drink soup. I felt sorry for the man.
What do you think he's doing now? Did he sew it back shut?
No,
or-
he might be sucking dick.
Yeah.
Because he can't take no dick up in his ass no more.
Right.
Because his ass all fucking all out.
But that's different though, because now you're talking about homosexuals. We're talking about straight men that's getting pegged by women.
That's wild.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Alright. Alright, so alright, cool. I'm gonna drop the link in a sec, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. You understand? Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly, Phoenix. The conversation wasn't about that. It got into the whole entire thing about gay men, but we were talking about straight men. Because now it starts to be a different topic of conversation. We're talking about straight men that like to get penetrated by women. That's still straight men, right? And then it just got back into the conversation about being gay. Exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about. All right, cool. So, all right. So I'm about to drop the link, you guys. You know the deal. Give me a sec, y'all. I'm gonna play this music quick.
See, God, it's like I have so much available to me and I lost so much. I can't escape saying my life is a tool. But in your image, I'm 3, and in the past, I was 6. Just wanna get nasty real quick. I said prayer before I eat the box, be it KFC or a lady that I need to stop in the street cause she way sexy. Please let me play with your playtex each time it's bleeding. Give me a reason to be inside. Am I deep enough for you to be my bride? For me to creep inside and say she's enough. See, I gotta find out first 5 minutes if you with it. If I can hit the crib and dig in it like a box of KFC. Let me not play in the playoffs this week.
Difficulties right now.
Can you hear me?
Phoenix, you. Lord. All right, hold up. Can you guys hear me? Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. I just had technical difficulties, y'all. Hold up. Can y'all hear me? Hold up. Give me 1 second, Phoenix. My journey's acting up. Hold up. It's weird. All right, cool. We good?
Hey, Bronze, can you hear me?
Yeah, my joint just froze.
That's all right. Yeah, I think I got kicked, and then I was trying to log back in, and then my mic wasn't working, so I was just making sure you guys could hear me.
Yeah, I'm good. So what you think so far?
It's a good topic area. I'm glad that you're approaching these different areas with a modicum of respect and curiosity, which I think is really important because like some of the stuff that you brought up around Urban Dictionary shit, it's what we call edge play, right? So it's like, it's really fascinating. People like to talk about it, but it's not really something you're going to see in the community much. And it's not something that a lot of people even consider unless, again, they're exposed to it or a partner's really into it. Or like I said, it's just something that maybe come across in porn. And then suddenly they think, oh, this is normalized. So yeah, I mean, it's since you're not in the FET community, it's kind of cool to hear somebody who's not been really exposed to these things on a regular basis and to see their perspective around it.
So give me a little bit of insight, like this whole entire thing of being a sub or a dom, because I heard it before, but I'm not really familiar with it too much. It's kind of like, it piqued my curiosity because I was like, this is kind of cool.
Sure.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. So, and you know what an umbrella term is, right? Like an umbrella term is like, they call it the lifestyle. So, and this is where people like, even in last week, when people start to like mix terms up. So at a top level, think of it as like an umbrella term. You have what we call the BDSM community. Okay. And originally that stands for bondage, sadomasochism, basically dominant, submissive sadomasochism. Okay. And you can have, that's like I said, it's an umbrella term and they label it the lifestyle. Okay. And then under that, what DS is a relationship status. DS, dominant, submissive. Then you have sadomasochism, which is specific to not necessarily power, but pain. So when you hear somebody's a masochist and a sadist, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're a DS. It means that they themselves, during sexual experience, like to experience infliction of pain. Could be mental, could be physical. It could be like I said, restraint, it could be rejection, it could be humiliation. So that's the sadist, the person doing it. The masochist is the person that's receiving it. So when you were talking about, for example, wait,
hold on. I'm sorry, Phoenix.
I'm going a little fast. Like, let me slow down. Okay, go ahead. Let me ask a question and I'll slow down.
So let me answer this. So you said the one that's giving it out and the person who's receiving. So the difference is which one is the appropriate terms for each?
Yeah. So if you're talking about, let's talk with DS first. Dominant, submissive.
Right.
So you'll hear a term called an alpha and a submissive. Okay. An alpha is the one that takes on the dominant role. And when I mean dominant, that means a relationship power structure during sex. Think of power. So in missionary, okay, let's look at a position. In a missionary position, a dominant would want to be the top, okay, in a traditional sense, because they're the one establishing the power over the sub. So the woman is traditionally submissive, the man is traditionally dominant, and you're going to see that through those positions, missionary, doggy style. Now, when a woman is more dominant, you're going to see her more want to be on top or reverse cowgirl or in like certain Kama Sutra positions where she is in control. Think of it as control and power. That's DS.
Right.
Okay. Now you have certain types of BDSM activities that are not about pain. This is where I was saying separate sadomasochism for a minute. When you talk about things like wax, rope play, that's what they call rope bunnies, which we can get into, or shibari in the Japanese term. You can talk about collaring, right? Putting a collar on a woman, putting like certain dress up techniques. This is going to be your, again, relationship activities that establish a dominant to a sub relationship, right? A dominant's going to want to collar a sub. A dominant may want to tie up a submissive. A dominant may want to control what a woman, and I'm just using traditional gender roles here. So you got a dominant male, submissive woman. The dominant male say, I want you to go into the bedroom. I want you to dress in this outfit. I want you to put on these heels. I want you to clean the dishes. I want you to wash the floor. And it's sexual because he's controlling her behavior. The submissive enjoys being controlled. And that's a foreplay for them. Okay. It doesn't, and then they have sex in a traditional way, maybe missionary doggy style. So that's like a play space. None of that included pain. Then you have DS, right? Dominant, submissive, that may include some aspects of more pain or humiliation. This is the sadist and the masochist. And this is what you're going to see in porn. That's what you're going to see in traditional humiliation. That's what you talk about shit play, piss play, smearing things. Like all of that stuff are forms of what we call sadomasochism and humiliation.
So let me ask you this, Phoenix. So a woman that I had sex with before.
Sure.
So would she be claimed as is masochist is the one that's receiving it, right?
They're receiving pain, not necessarily submission. This is
now she gave me instructions to choke her.
Correct. Now choking, did she want actually you to? Now I'm asking this legitimately. This is a totally like non-emotional conversation here. I'm just asking.
No, ask away. It's a free one.
Did she want you to actually choke her to hurt her, like to actually create almost a fear state, or did she want you to apply pressure on her neck as a sense of control? Because there is a difference.
Oh, okay. No, sense of control. Like she told me in the bedroom, like, just choke her. But like, I mean,
like put my
hands around her neck.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
that's
like,
yes. That's
okay,
DS.
that's DS. Okay.
Now, if she would have said, I want you to asphyxiate me, meaning start to strangle me till I can't, and this is, again, people in the comments, I don't know what they're saying, but asphyxiation is a masochistic activity because now you actually can breathe. So you have people that say, hey, this is collaring, like I like pressure around the neck. I like my husband or my boyfriend or my girlfriend. It could be reverse sexual, like gender roles. But I actually want to feel like that man is in control of my body. And what is the most sensitive area of a human being? It's going to be their neck, right? Mm-hmm. So it's trust. Think of it as trust. Like here I am, this woman is basically asking you to have her entire life in your hands during a sexual experience where she's ultra vulnerable. And that just heightens her experience completely. She's going to feel really, like if she's a sub, she's going to feel like, oh my God, this man has complete control. That's power.
So Phoenix, another question. So when it comes to a masochist, right? So would they get a high off of knowing that they passed out from sex, from the asphyxiation part?
Well, yeah, they want pain. So they still are going to have a traditional, like somebody creating pain, somebody receiving pain. It's going to have a little bit of that DS because somebody obviously has to be administrating it, but they could be a switch. They could be hurting, that one could be a sadist one day and a masochist the next. So it isn't necessarily a fixed role. It's going to be very individualistic, but they actually get remember how you were talking about skin orgasms?
Yeah.
Like you actually read that? Certain people have pain, pleasure mechanisms. It's built into their physiology. Some people hate it. Some people, pain traumatizes them. Some people get a fucking adrenaline rush out of it. So a traditional masochist, they want to be on that edge because that physical pain suddenly manifests itself into a pleasure sensation. Now, I don't have that. So I can't tell you it from my personal experience what that feels like, but I have friends in the FET community that they like stuff where it actually kind of hurts them, like physically hurts them. Not like bleeding out, going to the hospital, but it creates like they'll use these little, what they call pinwheels, which have like little, they're like little blades, right? But they kind of scratch the skin. And for some people, it's sexual. It's hot. Doesn't necessarily they're into blood play. It's just that they like to feel pain.
I've seen that before. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
But like the wax thing is more about skin orgasm in relationship to heat. Like I don't know if you've seen lubricants that heat up when you have sex with them, like they actually are self-heating lubricants. For women, this is something a lot of men don't understand. Women react very differently than men do to heat and to cold. So women actually we can get multiple orgasms just by changing the temperature of a shower head.
Yes.
You're using I mean, that's true.
That is true.
You can make it very warm, then you can make it very cold, and you can create this stimulation experience, and you can kind of come like 3-4 times in a row just by using temperature, if you know what you're doing.
No, I know all about that. Like, like they'll catch an orgasm if they, like, usually if the water is like warmer to hot, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So wax is exactly like they could pour that wax on their nipples if they're having a nipple orgasm. That's going to be a heat sensation. You can do ice cubes. It's going to be a cold sensation. And I'm curious about men because I obviously know female body for myself, but I don't, some men like ice cubes on their nipples, like, but I don't know if that's pain or if that's pleasure. It just depends on the man, right? I have no idea.
I haven't experimented that far. Like, in terms of temperature, nah, I haven't experimented that far. I mean, sex in the shower, if it's like hot or warm, I love that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I mean, yes, because I don't want to have cold shower sex. I'm just weird. It's not even weird. It's just regular. Because I think mainly a lot of humans, a lot of people in general, usually go with warm water anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's gonna feel good. I mean, like jacuzzi sex, all that stuff is very popular.
In terms of heat in that way, yeah. Like I like shower sex if it's hot. If it's steamy, yes. If you're talking temperature, yes, I like that.
Yeah, for temperature. And women, like I said, respond to that. Like ours, like what you read in that article, we have different erogenous zones than men do, right? Yes. Like men are penis out. Like, and again, I'm gonna say this, talking graphic here, but your orgasmic kind of center, your root center is very at your phallic body, right? You kind of radiate from the dick. Women radiate into their pussies, like literally into it. That's why a lot of men go right to the pussy and they miss the foreplay, and then a woman is either dry or not ready, or they may have pain, because for women, it's kind of body out. Like we end up vaginally, but our start is mental. It's a different physical reaction, which is why one of the biggest communication disconnects with men and women when they're learning their bodies is women learn by porn too sometimes, but porn isn't going to teach a woman how her stimulation naturally flows. Like, like think of it like when you grab a woman and kiss her neck, or you caress her breasts, or you touch the lower back, or you massage her thighs. That's because you're stimulating areas of the body that are going to end up vaginally eventually, but that's where we start. That's our ramp up phase. And a lot of men, their ramp up phase is going to go right to, like, they might like a lot of and you can stop me and say, no, men love this stuff. But what I've noticed is, especially being in the FET community, men are very dick-centric. Like, I mean, all the foreplay is great to kind of get you erect, but once you're erect, man, okay, you're erect, like, go there.
Right.
And women, our pussies don't always work. I mean, sometimes they do, but a lot of times we like all the other stuff, and then we're ready, and then it all comes together.
This is what I noticed that works. I'm a touchy type of man. I like the touching and all that other stuff when it comes to a woman, especially we're talking about foreplay. I usually understand it does work, and I was able to give a woman some type of orgasm just off of kissing, intense kissing. You know what I'm saying? So I understand, because certain dudes just want to get straight to the pussy, and I agree with you on that. My thing is, I like creating the atmosphere of foreplay. That's my thing. It always does work.
Yeah, and afterplay too. Like a lot of people also kind of like, okay, you come, you're done. And what a lot of people don't realize is that a cool down period for a woman is also really important. Because remember, we have a tendency to multiple orgasm once we're in our flow. And that's a very taxing physical state. And if you're a submissive woman, you've had a man that's like, he's taking control of you. And I'm not even saying like full DS. I'm talking about just even in missionary, even in doggy style. I mean, he's kind of racked your body if he's done it right. This is an exercise. This is emotional. And a lot of men just get up, they're gone. And a lot of women kind of need that. I'm not saying cuddle time. It doesn't have to be cuddle, but there has to be that kind of like natural disconnect so that you feel secure, you feel protected, you feel safe.
Is that what you mean by afterplay? Like,
yeah, they call it like post post-orgasmic afterplay.
Yeah, I love that shit. Because my thing is, I can cuddle, right? Like, all the thing, the cuddling and all that other stuff. And then, like, we'll just go, and she'll just be ready for another round. And I'll be like, okay, I am too. You know what I'm saying? So it creates that atmosphere, like, the sex marathon. You know what I'm saying? And I dig that. Like, I'm all about the physical part, the all touching and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Even if I know we warm up by music. Music always sets the mood.
Oh, absolutely.
So of course you got the juvenile song, back that ass up. You know what I'm saying? And allow the woman to twerk first. You know what I'm saying? So she can go ahead and do what she got to do, and then of course I go ahead and just start caressing. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand that when it comes to a woman, like you said earlier, the physical part is important. I like to touch, and I noticed that certain bodies does create the atmosphere for a woman to start feeling that attention. You know what I'm saying? I usually like the hips. The hips really help, and I usually like to go to the side of the woman's body. And I notice that she does react to that in a very common way. Of course, you have the breast and, the ass, you know what I'm saying? But I do recognize, like, the side of a woman's body, she reacts to that as well.
Yeah, women are very full body, and every woman's going to be different. Like I said, it depends. Women have to take the time to kind of know their sexual selves. That's kind of what we were talking about in the last live stream about that whole, like, it can take a while. Like when they joke about women, hit a certain, like the 40s and 50s, they become pumas and cougars. But you also have to understand we're socialized to be very shameful of our body for many, 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 many years. There's that fine, delicate line that women walk between being a prude, and where you get to be in the middle. And so when you've been told, like for some religious families, some families that are more traditional about women's bodies, period, all these kind of weird areas of a female anatomy, women don't even know. I know women my age that still don't know about they don't even know their anatomy, their vagina. They don't masturbate. They have never touched themselves. It's shameful. It's wrong. And so when you've manifested that as your own body is sinful or disgusting or just an object to be cummed in, right? Women, you don't know yourself. You're afraid of yourself. There are women out there that are afraid of their pussy. I mean this. Like, they're afraid of it. Like, I could hurt myself. There's so many misconceptions. Like, for years they told people, like, if you, this, Bronzebird. For years they had, like, the puritanical ideals that if you masturbated too much, you would, like, lose your fertility. Like, there's a lot of shaming around masturbation. Well, here's the thing. What if you had, like I said, what if you've had, like, 3 partners or 2 partners and they suck? Like, what if they're just not good for you? So you've spent your whole sexual health never having an orgasm, never being pleasured because you got with somebody who either was selfish or they just didn't know what they were doing. So you can have a marriage like that. You can have a relationship like that. And so a lot of people just have to kind of, like, overcome their shame and also become curious again. I'm not talking about immorality here. I'm talking about be curious about yourself. Yes. Ask yourself the hard questions, which is one of the reasons that when you bring up things like pegging, you bring up things like, again, humiliation, DS, immediately we revolt, we pull back, we say, holy fuck. But you have to look at it from an individual's, like, an individual perspective. And every person is going to have a different reaction to that. And the key is to be in alignment with your partner, because that's when shit gets weird, right? And it's the euphoria, learning about the euphoria for both parties. Well, euphoria about yourself first, of course. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But there's one thing because I understand women already have the expansive, like, things of when it comes to vibrators and all these different things. Now all of a sudden, I've seen this before, like, they have certain instruments for men when it comes to the whole entire thing of masturbation or self. Like fleshlights and things like that. Or, like fleshlight, pocket pussy in prison. They call it a fifi. Pocket asses. There's some shit out there. I'm like, I didn't know that even had 3 motors. That's wild. And it's like, what is it? They have, so the pocket pussy of obviously, right? In prison they call it. In prison they make their own. They call it a fifi. What? Okay. Yeah. In prison they have their own, like, masturbation device called the fifi. And then and it's wild how they do it, because they have, like,
they tie balloons and then they'll cut off like pillows or all this other shit. They'll do it and then just have a hole so you can stick it in there, right? And then
they don't do conjugal visits anymore. Is that not a thing anymore? I know
conjugal visits is a thing, but then it's just kind of like you're gonna have to wait for that. So let's just say you're in heat and there's nobody around. You're not gonna be smashing another guy in prison if
you hope not.
You know what I mean? You hope not, or you don't want to get involved in that. So it's like you're by yourself, and you know, I'm pretty sure for certain guys, like pictures don't help, and you know, just looking at stuff doesn't help. You need the full experience, right? Sure.
Yeah.
So they have a Fifi, and then they have a machine that I don't know. I guess you plug into a wall or something like that.
Machine? Oh man.
A what?
A fuck machine? For women or for men?
Like I've seen, because I already know there's a bunch of stuff for women. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get into women in a second.
Sure.
For men, they have a machine, I believe, that you put your thing in there, and then it's supposed to go ahead and just like massage your thing until you ejaculate.
I got
you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I already understood a fleshlight, but I was like, the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying?
There's no intimacy there, and I think that's the big thing. Or there's no connection. There's no body action, and I think that's part of the porn culture, or what we would call just like the sexual primal culture, like getting off to get off, right? Because you can like imagine it, but I think that's a tough part for me, because like I don't know if you've ever heard of the word of a sapiosexual or a saposexual. Sapiosexual, yeah. Like that, there's a mental connection. There's that play. There's that like intellect, that stimulation there. And so that's another component, and around trust, right? Like to be vulnerable, to let go of control, to really be in the moment.
So on that odds though, because I remember I said to myself, like I'm a sapiosexual,
yeah.
But because I like mental stimulation, like conversation, like I like this. It's not even like I'll get a hard on from it or sexual, like, you know, like reward from it. It's just like I like certain conversations when it comes to women, when you pick their minds, you know what I mean? And then like you might say something very intellectual. I'm like, damn, I like the fact that you just said that. You know what I mean?
It's stimulating the mind before stimulating the body. Yep, exactly.
Right. And I like that type of stuff because I like deep thought. You know what I mean? So that what was I gonna say? Like, but you wouldn't identify yourself as a sapiosexual.
So I would say this. Like my husband's in the other room. Like our sex life is fantastic, but I will tell you this: our intimacy is unmatched, and that comes from the intellect. That comes from the mind. That comes from compatibility. That comes from the fact that he, like intellectually, we are just so fucking matched. And that is a sexual desire for both of us. You know, we obviously have, again, a non-traditional, fet life relationship in our life. But like I said, I will tell you this, the best sex I've ever had is with my husband. Like hands down, never can be fucking compared. And a lot of that comes from our just pure compatibility, intellectually, mentally, socially, like just that, and I know he's on another call again. I'd love to, I wish, like I said, he would come in and have a conversation. He just doesn't like social media that much. But I would consider myself, if I was going to be in a relationship and a true, like, you're going to get all of me, my true dom, it's gotta have an intellectual component for me. It has.
Right.
Because it bore me. Like that's the other thing. It'd be boring. It would just get old. Like it wouldn't have the fire or the gasoline behind the fire, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense. And this is something that was on my mind too. I think no matter how long you guys get into a relationship, how long you guys get married, or like how long you've been with each other, I still think like there's something sexual or something that's great about still trying to find out about your partner, like still being adventurous.
Oh, absolutely. And that's part of curiosity, right?
Yeah.
Being curious.
Yeah.
Open. And that's something you have to maintain too. When I say maintain, meaning it is. When I say work, it's not bad work. It's just it's so easy to forget about it, or to get occupied in other things, or to be prioritized in other aspects of your life, that you almost have to carve out time for it, especially if you're a busy adult and you have jobs and you have kids and you have blah, 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 blah. It becomes something you really need to pay attention to and nurture. And a lot of people just stop nurturing it. when they lose the kind of pheromones and the chemistry immediately, right? Like that kind of old relationship energy. They just get used to it. And you have to stay curious. You have to
It's
stay
a routine. Yeah, and I definitely believe in still trying to keep that curiosity there. You know what I'm saying? Like if I had kids and I was married, it's still like, well, what you doing this Friday though? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
What you doing this Friday? You know, what you want to do? Like, remember when you wore those Vickies last week or the other? You know what I mean? Like, that's what makes it fun. And I think what I appreciate about certain sex partners I have, like, I definitely like the presentation too.
Sure.
You know, I definitely like the lingerie is always a win. You know what I mean? Because nothing is wrong with that.
Do you like picking it out though? Like, do you like enjoying like action, or do you want her to pick it out? Like, I'm just curious. Like, again, how much control do you want over those decisions?
You know, honestly, I think I start to get some type of sexual gratification if it's a surprise.
Oh, okay.
Or if I let the woman go ahead and surprise me with it, right?
Gotcha.
Because the thing about it is like I like the surprise effect. Like, wow.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
like her to come to you and bring her creativity, bring her style. You don't necessarily want to control her actions. You want to see if she can kind of match your desire.
Exactly. And I like that type of stuff because it's just kind of like, wow, you really came prepared. You know what I mean? And yeah, because I would never say I can agree. I don't think I've really ever had boring sex. You know what I mean? Each time it's been dope. You know, but I definitely do think there was a few in between that definitely gave it a surprise element, especially when it came to lingerie, where it's just like, yes. And they take, and it's like the good thing about it is when they take notes. That's what I mean by curiosity. When they take notes, or you take notes about your partner, and you start to be like, okay, what do you like?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the headspace. So in the lifestyle, you'll hear this thing called play space or headspace, and it's completely separated from the actual sexual act, but it's a prep stage. And exactly what you're saying. It's like, okay, if we're gonna have a romantic night, like, what's the environment gonna look like? Like, what's my playlist gonna look like? Am I gonna use candles? Am I gonna incorporate some potential activities, like role play or lingerie or submission and DS? Like, that's getting yourself into the headspace. And by the way, for women, that is really older. I can speak for older women. Maybe not when you're super young and you're still learning yourself. Maybe you are. I don't know. Don't want to like judge any young women. But I know as an older, like as I get more advanced into my own play and my own desire, like that scenario setting happens hours, sometimes days before like the actual act. And it's exciting because you know it's coming, right? And I'm a submissive. So like I know what my husband likes. I know how to surprise him. I know certain things that I can do to start the scenario. And he then takes over as the dom and knows, okay, that's my cue. Like, I'm ready. Now it's your turn. And there's that back and forth. And that's what I'm saying. It's not like 5 minutes before, hey, this person showed up, or hey, I'm with this person. It's like a whole like headspace that you're in. And I think that's where porn destroys that a little bit. Like some of this culture of like instant sex, instant pull up a fleshlight, pull up a whatever. You don't get the imagination. You don't get like your own stimulation there, or your partner's stimulation. You're kind of caught up in all of the distraction of all the sex immediately available to you.
Yeah.
And then you may take your partner actually for granted if they've created a scenario and you're not into it because you're looking at Instagram or whatever.
Yeah,
that's an example.
Yeah, I agree on that. But this is I'm gonna ask you this question, and I think I want to get into the conversation about because it still toggles my mind about people who use like instruments in order to achieve orgasms, right? So I wanted to ask this question first. So when it comes to the fet life community, because I understand it might be certain men out there that might not want to have sexual relations with an older woman, right? And it's like,
makes sense. Yeah.
To me, honestly, that like to say that their attraction of older women is not there is complete bullshit. Because like like there's definitely older women that is attractive as hell, and it's like I had to sit back and I was just like, wait a minute, I'm on this subway train right now, and I'm like, god damn, if this is somebody's grandma, this grandma is sexy as hell right now, like shit, like you know what I mean? So I just want to know, like in a Fet Life community, right?
Mhm.
The age range. What is the typical age range of the ones that's in the Fet Life community? And
So-
if it comes to older, like is it an outlier? Or do you
no,
see
it's not an outlier. In fact, it's
Okay.
crazy. So I can send you. I'll find it at some point, especially if other people come on the panel, you know, and start to talk. There is a. So I don't know if you've ever seen Pornhub's insights, but I sent one about the sneakers. But there is a whole growing body of, you know, they call us geriatric millennials, but in all the way up into the boomers that like. As they get older, they get more exploratory. Like you hear the swing culture. A lot of the swing culture is not young people.
it's
We're
older?
talking, they're nudist colonies. We're talking about like 20 years older than me.
Yeah, no, and when you say that, Phoenix, real quick,
Yeah.
like when I went to the Caribbean islands for vacation once, when it came, it was a nudist beach, right? And I was a little younger. I was a little younger, and the nudist beach wasn't even really, you know, people around my age. It was actually older. It was actually older people that was like butt naked. And then this last point, I seen a video. I don't know if it was BuzzFeed or Refinery 29. There's a 77-year-old woman that was into having sex and going out on dates.
Oh no. So I'm in the ballroom dancing community. Okay, so the average age is like for competitive, it's gonna be between like 45 and 70, because I live in Florida, right? So there's a huge gap, you know, of older people. The ballroom dancing community that I was in, we had swingers, dude. Like it's found out like 5 of them were fucking each other. There was a nudist camp up the road. It was insane. My husband and I were like, what? Wow. This lady Judy had like a menage a trois with like 2 of the dance guys there, all straight. But it was like, what? And I sat down with Judy one night because we were all like, it was after like a comp, and my husband's there, our friends are there. And she's like, oh my God, like Florida is, you know, and the average age is like 60. And you're talking swinging. I mean, like straight out orgies, like everything everybody accuses me of that I don't touch with a 10-foot pole was like the common thing. And and it really shocked me because I had ageism. Like I had discrimination in my own mind. Like, oh, once you hit a certain age, you hit the age wall, nobody wants to fuck you anymore. There is like a curve. Like you kind of decline in your 40s, and then something about 50s and 60s. Like these people, like, I guess they just say fuck it, and their sexuality blooms. The problem is that so does like STDs and like violence. Like there's a lot of drama in these old communities that actually center around sex, infidelity, swinging, orgies. It's crazy. But it's crazy to us because we're young. But I guess if I hit 65, I don't want to hit an edge. So, you know, that's what I'm kind of getting at. It's all perception. It's all perception in what you see.
No scats around here.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing about that. I'm going to be honest with you. I was 27 when I kind of became an educator in the BDSM community, meaning I felt very comfortable that I was at a level, like I know what I like. I can kind of help younger people. And when I say younger, meaning all consensually adults, okay? But if they're interested in some of these activities, here's the safe way to do it. Here's how you don't get hurt. Here's things you should know. Here's ways you can traumatize yourself. And I will tell you, like, I have never met anyone in all of those years that have ever said I want to be shit on. Ever. Not once. Not a single fucking one. Now they talk about it. They joke about it. They may make a porn statement about it. But I have never been in an environment that's an actual use case that people do. Between me and you.
So when it comes to edge, right? What's the most edgiest like confession you ever heard from the Fet community, BDSM community, whatever? So
the one that I do know of, because I hang out at goth clubs, is there is a BDSM edge play around knife play and blood play. So you do have a small, it's very small, but I have been exposed to it, of people that like to drink blood. And they like vampirism, okay? Like it's a vampirism fetish. And actually, I got exposed to that really young. When I say really young, meaning in my early teens. I was at because I love goth clubs. I've always loved goth music. And there's a place in Detroit, because I was raised in Detroit, called City Club, okay? And it's in the bottom of a Ramada hotel. And I actually went into the bathroom to, wash my hands, and I'm listening to industrial. And I had actually a woman who asked me, and this is before I was in the actual FET community, but she asked me if she could drink my blood. And it was extremely uncomfortable. And it was a woman, wasn't a man. And I actually told this story, I think, to Miss Elite, and Ari knew about it too, because when I went to Castle, like down here in the Tampa clubs, like I was lucky that that community wasn't like that. But in Detroit, there was a vampire, like a true vampire subculture in the FET community that was into that shit, and they were into like knife and blood play. And it was not my thing, but I tried to respect that, hey, if that's what you're consenting, but that's probably the most edge that I've personally been exposed to.
Yeah, that's edge.
That's edge.
I've never heard that before.
And if you're into, again, it's like a vampire culture. Like it's kind of its own sub community. I wouldn't call that under the BDSM umbrella by itself. I would call that, like, again, fetish or fantasy. But people are into it. And again, if you're into consent, that's the key. The key word is consent.
Yes.
That's something that really gets overlooked, is definite, like really what consent means. Because here's the thing, it's okay to say no. Like you were talking about pegging. You were talking about some of this other kind of shit. It's okay to say, I don't like that, and not be judged for that. Say, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, it's something that a partner asked me before if I'm into pegging. I said no. How
did it come up though? I'm really curious. Did she just straight up ask you? Because that is neat to me. Like,
I forgot how we got into the conversation, because I think we was texting on it, right? And was it pegging? I don't want to say it's pegging. No. It was about groceries. That's what it was about.
That term I have not heard of. That was really cool.
Yeah, groceries, eating the ass. And she had asked me, she was like, do you like eating ass? And I was like, nah, that's not my thing. I like, eating the box, eating the vagina, regular old,
regular old, just the old style.
Right. And I was like, yeah, I'm into it. I have no problem with that. Yeah, I like that. But that's, I heard, like, she asked me that question, and I was just like, nah, I'm not into that. It's like, what you mean? I'm like, I'm just not into it.
So did she judge you on that? Did you feel pressure?
I don't like, it was, no, I don't think she did, but it was like one of those type of things, like you could kind of sense the disappointment.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it was just like, yeah, that's not me. I'm not into that. If you want to get your box eaten, then I'll do that. But not the eating of the ass. I don't eat the groceries.
Yeah, that's part of the negotiation component. Like if you're experimenting or curiosity, it's okay to bring something up, but you do have to like value and honor your partner's reactions to it. Because I don't like manipulation. That's something that the BDSM community has really taught me, is that there's some really unhealthy habits, especially in DS. Because think about DS, right? Like you're literally, if you're doing slave work or you're doing submission work, you are giving someone complete control over you, not only sexually, but also emotionally during that headspace. And there are bad doms out there. There are manipulators. There are people that want to hurt you and they want to traumatize you. And so I learned real fast from that community, like how to recognize somebody who's trying to manipulate you versus somebody who's actually trying to be curious or open or have a discussion. And there's some red flags that a lot of people that are young do not catch on, and I'm lucky that being older, I have, if that makes sense.
Total sense. So I'm going to get into this conversation. Me and you discussed about, because this new phenomenon, not really new, but it's a phenomenon, sex robots, right? Sex dolls, right? Plastic. Now, back in the day, it was just a regular blow-up doll, and
now it's mechanical fucking android.
Yeah, like what the hell?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's completely fucking crazy. You know what I'm saying, right? So what was it? So sex dolls that was on my mind, right? And then it was also about these like gadgets, right? Because I'm so used to women always talking about vibrators, they'll go on Instagram and I seen this one girl that had this whole entire conversation about like like having like 5 vibrators. Like, like it was like, wow.
And she's connected to all holes. Yeah.
Like all holes, like just have them all on deck. Like this is my vibrator for today, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Like I had 5 vibrators, right?
Well, you
And
have to be careful too. You need to tell your women too, like if they do toy play, like you got you got to take a break from that shit because you can overstimulate your clit. Like a lot of women don't know that.
Yeah.
Start having problems, just like men that start using toys that do things that the human body doesn't do. If you start to overstimulate, you'll lose sensitivity. You got to be careful with that shit. So
Yeah,
use your toys responsibly.
You'll bruise your dick. Yeah, you bruise your dick. But I was saying because it's like when I first came into the knowledge of men, women having vibrators, I was like, okay, I know about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know all about that. It is what it is, right? Men, it's this woman that was talking to a man on a video, and then she was talking about anal beads.
Oh, anal beads?
What the fuck is anal beads?
Oh, you never heard of anal beads?
Before that, I didn't know about anal beads, right? And then there's certain people out there, like certain men out there that like to get their penis pierced.
Oh yeah, Prince Albert, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, Prince Albert. I don't like it's all crazy information to me, right? And then they have like things like a cock ring.
Cock ring. No, cock rings are very specific though. So
how it is specific. Yeah.
So cock rings are used to constrict blood flow in a way that is really good for men who have pre-ejaculation. So you can retrain. Like some men like have been using porn. This is actually like a true medical, like not just medical, but it's like a sexual health tip. If you're with a guy and he comes too fast, okay? And it could be, when I say comes too fast, that's between you and your partner. It could be 3 minutes, it could be 45 minutes. Everybody has a different requirement or desire, but you can use a cock ring to basically, or 2 or 3, to basically keep the dick as hard as possible. It's going to slow sensitivity down. And that way it also can retrain a man who is, like I said, a quick releaser to be able to last as long as their partner. So because when you put it on, a lot of men, I know this sounds really bad, but a lot of men don't know how to use their own toys very well. So you're supposed to put a cock ring on when you're soft, then you get hard, that constricts, keeps it in place. And then that's the idea, is like you can kind of, and there's different sizes, there's different textures. You can also use ones that are ribbed, so it actually has like clitoral stimulation. But there's some really cool like literature for men that are either retraining themselves from post-porn addiction or men that have just ejaculation problems. They can use cock rings to help them have a normalized sex life. And you can also just use it for fun. Like I said, they do have cock rings that have like vibrators on the end of them that are clitoral stimulation. They have ones that wrap around your balls where you can, like they actually wrap at the balls, and they have like a taint stimulator, which is what I said, so you're not inside an asshole, but you're stimulating prostate. They have some fascinating stuff out there that men should be like, you have to make a decision if that's something you want to explore for yourself. But that isn't a sex robot thing. That's just more in what we would call like enhancers or, sex medical tools. If that
Dronia 9000, like I feel like
that's wild. Like, yeah. I mean, the robot issue though is like, this is the same thing that I come back to about intimacy or the body contact or the inceldom, where they start like, okay, I can't get a real woman, so I'm not going to work on that. So let's go over here to a fucking woman. I can program her to do everything that I say when I say it, and I can fuck her any way I want. It's still not a real woman. You're not helping yourself there. Right.
And you know what? There's a guy that's usually on a panel. He had bought himself a sex doll, right? Oh, so it was amazing how I did a video on it way back, like, and it was just like this. Actually, you see him on a panel, like really touching this woman, and like,
oh Jesus,
like for real, like this is on another panel. Elite knows exactly who I'm talking about too.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, so. He has that, and I was just like, wow, I've never seen that.
Did he have a reason? Did he actually give a reason? Like, was he just into it?
So basically, I've never had the chance to really watch his videos like that. So there's a series on how he came into this whole thing about becoming attracted to sex dolls.
Oh,
Right?
so he's actually admitting he's attracted to it. Like actually.
But this is the thing. But when you hear what he has to say about why he got a sex doll, because mind you, this is an older man. This is a man in his 60s, right? Okay. And he was already married. He already had his kids or whatever.
Gotcha.
There is some element of being fed up with today's women that he doesn't really want to deal with that. So I don't know if you could say it's inceldom, but there definitely is an element like, I just don't want to deal with women of today. Okay. I don't want to deal with that. And I'm like, all right, bro, it is what it is. But, for me, it's just like, I need the whole thing. I need the real woman. Like, I need to feel the emotions.
I think that's
I need
normalized.
that shit.
I would say most men and women, as a general rule, would want something that would challenge them and provide more than just a, kind of a slit and something you can plug in to say, hi, dinner's ready. But I can understand. I mean, here's the thing. I always struggle with this topic, and I'm getting very transparent with you, Bronzebird, but I struggle with this topic because if a man really doesn't want a woman, or he's fed up with women, or he's really frustrated at females, I don't really want a female to suffer, because I feel like that's not a compatible person to be with a real woman at that point. So if he needs to have a sexual release, or he really enjoys a robot for that individual case, as long as he's not harming anything, I always say, hey, to each his own, I shouldn't judge. Right. But if it becomes a normalized part of the culture that it's like, okay, this didn't work with this relationship, so let's just check out altogether, and now there's sex robots that can replace human contact, that's where the line starts to get really blurry for me to say, well, that could be very unhealthy. Right?
And I agree, because it's like, okay, my thing is, I hear from men all the time, and I'm not, just for the record, disclaimer, I'm not saying that, I have anything against this. I don't.
Sure.
So there's men, right, that find an exit strategy when it comes to dealing with women, okay? Mm-hmm. So sure. I did a video on this a while ago, because men are starting to come into the sexualization of just the feminine. It's not that men really even care anymore about gender. They just care about the feminine figure that they want to deal with. Okay. So I've heard men straight up tell me, or I've heard men just say, oh, I don't want to deal with women. I'd rather deal with a trans, or I'd rather deal with just a feminine dude, right?
Interesting. That is a perspective I'm not privy to in my own life, so this is an interesting perspective for me.
Yeah. And I've heard that before, and I was just like, I mean, okay, dude. And it's like, again, it goes back to my point. It's not that they don't, it's not that, and this is why they say, you don't understand, you don't understand. Mm-hmm. Once I start to dig deeper on what it means, all it is a companionship to basically equal their masculinity. So they need that femininity to balance out. That's why they don't want to put the gender into it and think about gender when they decide to get into a sexual escapade with that said person. Okay. So that's an exit strategy, right? So now we're talking about the whole thing with sex dolls and robots, right? And this is the thing. I can understand if you feel rejected or something like that, because everybody needs it goes back to the whole idea of people need a release, right? Yeah. There's traumas, obviously. There's this whole thing like, okay, I've been hurt by this situation, or just, I don't want to deal with this because I see it as an overview, it's not worth it. Yeah. But I agree with you, Phoenix, because to me, it's like, to have it normalized, it's like, okay, fuck all these women. You know what I'm saying? Let me just go ahead and get the Adronia 9000 that I can order online. That's going to be my girl. And then it just becomes so common. It's just like, my bros would never do this. But if I had my bros, that's just like, yeah, Bronzebird. Yeah, we out the game, bro. I got cuffed up. I bought my shorty online. And it's like, well, how normalized this is going to get, man? Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I would wish in this world it does not come to a point where it's just like men are completely fed up with women. They don't want to deal with them entirely. Like, no. Yeah. No, I still want to deal with women.
To that. Like, there's a value to female and male dynamic relationships, like to society, not just about procreation, but also about creativity, innovation, a little bit of that competition, I mean, my husband brings so much value to my life as a man. I mean, he stimulates me, again, in the bedroom, but also, like, to be a better person. To like there's just all of this shit that if I didn't have him, like my life would be fucking incomplete. And people could be like, well, yeah, but you could be like fucking every toy. Yeah, but that's not a replacement, right? Like, yeah, me and my husband may have a fight, but that's okay because we're working, like, you see what I mean? Like, that's a normal part of human relationships, and it just makes us better when we are able to overcome stuff. And that translates into my job. That translates how I interact with you online. Like, the way I interact with my husband and the way I can respect men allows me to also respect men that are not my husband, but are talking about topics that are intimate and sensitive. See what I mean? Like, there's more there than a sum of all your parts. And when you completely remove an interaction because, okay, it's too hard or I don't like it anymore, you're potentially missing out on an opportunity to grow for yourself. And a robot will never fucking fix that because it's automated to be for your pleasure, right? It's programmed to be what you want it to be, not necessarily what you need it to be.
Right.
And that's a different mental state. Like, my husband isn't here to make me happy all of the time. My husband is here to be a fully vetted alpha male who wants to be the man he wants to be, and our relationship grows from that.
And to challenge you, you know what I mean? And that's the thing that really, men or women that use toys, right? Because it's like when I hate the whole entire rhetoric that they said, it's very common with women. I don't need no man. I don't need no man. And then, like, today they have no problem sitting up there talking about vibrators. It's like, yeah, vibrators can give you that sexual gratification for now, but when you're down in the dumps and you just need that comfortable conversation,
it's a utility.
You're gonna feel that shit, and the vibrator is not gonna be able to answer that call. Like, okay, I got you. I'm gonna hear what you have to say. Like, no.
Well, and you don't remember masturbation. I mean, come on, let's be honest with people. Like, you may remember, like, okay, I masturbated today, but like, you're not like. I don't know anybody that like looks back and be like, okay, on September 10th, when I was in the bathtub, I had this amazing experience with myself. No, you'd be like, okay, I had a release. I had a stress relay where I explored myself. But what you remember is when you met that woman or that man and you went to dinner and you came home and she dressed up in lingerie and you had this session and she fell asleep with you, woke up, you had breakfast. That's what you fucking remember.
And it's like a nostalgia because it's like, yeah, like I remember doing all that and I remember how it felt.
With her because
yes.
She brought something to the table that was an individual being.
And I don't know anybody.
Part of her. It wasn't what you were fucking in. Like, meaning it wasn't about the fuck. The fuck was part of the entire experience.
Exactly.
You know, and that's where, like I said, if you want to go and kind of tie that into fet or role play, that they're just utilities. They're just tools for you to use. Ultimately, with a partner of your choice, or partners, if that's what you want to do. But I don't believe robots across the board. A robot may give you an orgasm, but it's not going to give you a lifelong experience. Period.
I agree. And that's the thing that I have. That's the thing, like I said before. It's like troubling because, like, I feel like even if you think about it on a broader spectrum, like the socialization that's coming out now is all about that narcissism. The narcissisticness.
Oh yeah, it's instant gratification. Yeah. It's all about
instant gratification
for the sake of pleasure. It's not pleasure for the sake of, again, the word intimacy. That's why I get so frustrated when people look at like my marriage and then they immediately go to one aspect that devalues intimacy.
Right.
Intimacy is the core. That's the heart of what holds a relationship together, or what holds a sensitivity together. And
it's like,
we're not intimate anymore. How many people are intimate, vulnerable? Like, I can't, like, I'll be honest with you. That's one of the things that I've seen really missing over the last probably 5 years of my life is people that talk about intimacy, and possibly with sexual, components to it. But like that feeling of, man, I feel intimate with this person. Like, they know my soul. They can read my mind. They can, like, I don't have to speak to them because they know already. Right? Like, there's a higher level there. You call it, maybe some people call it spiritual, some people call it connection, but it's missing. And it's being driven out of us, Bronzebird. I really believe that. It's being conditioned out of us.
Oh, yeah. I definitely agree because it's one of the girls that taught me something about this love language. And I mean, even still to this day, I really like that she mentioned that. You know what I mean? Because it's like I said, besides the sex being amazing, just the fact of the matter that was brought up in conversation because it was a warm, fuzzy feeling that came out of it. And the thing about it is like, I don't know too many people who's confident of saying, I remember my best masturbation session, as opposed to like, who I had sex with was amazing. Like, I don't know anybody that's gonna say, yo, my best masturbation session was December the 9th, 2015. Like,
I mean, maybe if you're like a 16-year-old kid and you just discovered it, but if you're in your adult phase, you know, like people, I didn't know this felt so good. Why didn't somebody tell me about this? Well, now you know. But yeah, once you get older, like that's the other thing about virginity and stuff. Like that's what we were talking about with Lonely last week. Like when you're young, sometimes you think like, okay, the first person you're gonna have sex with is gonna be the best sex that you ever had. But a lot of times it's not because it's memorable because it obviously was kind of a crossing of a bridge and, you know, big step in a man and a woman's life, like gender agnostic. But I would say, again, you've got to have different layers. You have to have different experiences. And most times losing your virginity is not like, it's not the end, right? It really should be the beginning of your sexual journey and your self-exploration, right? Right. And a robot's never going to give you that.
It's not.
It's not. No.
That's what I mean, because it's like no matter how many times like these big tech companies try to program it, right? Like it's not gonna have that authentic feel to how a woman is gonna give you that feel, or how your husband give you your feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just not
eye contact. Like let's be honest. Like when we talk about seduction, right? The true art, not manipulation. We talk about the art of seduction. When you pay attention to a woman, how she bats her eyes, how she looks at you, how she positions her face, her mouth, the way she interacts with your words, how she interacts with your body. Like these are things that are human in nature. They're not robotic. They're natural. And they can't be programmed. They just have to kind of happen. And that's why when you can see when someone's flirting with each other, everybody around sees it. Sometimes you don't even notice you're doing it, but it's happening. You're not going to get that with technology.
You're not.
Right. And you're missing out if you don't. Like there is nothing more like flirting is fun. Seduction is fun. These things are like dopamine hits.
Yes.
They make you feel fucking good. They flood your body with oxytocin. Like this is natural highs, you know? So I don't know. Like that's why everybody's on a fucking antidepressant. It's like you remove the very things that make us human, and then you want some thing that you have to pay a monthly subscription to replace it.
Fuck that. I don't want that.
Yeah.
See, and the thing about it is, a lot of people don't understand how great, even outside of sex, it is. Like learning about herbs that have you still stay, you know, in the mood and stuff like that. Aphrodisiacs and certain foods are, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't understand how dope that shit is. Like, just to, like the fact of the matter, I can eat something right now, like I think something like pineapples, and I can stay in the zone and not have to feel like, oh, I'm done, the one hitter quitter. I'm still in this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people don't understand how amazing that is. And it's
what do you think? I'd love to hear your perspective on this.
Okay.
I need this from men. Like my husband obviously is one man, and he has, you know, he takes care of himself. He exercises. He, you know, stays very vitality. You know, like we're good. But you know, something I'm really noticing is like a lot of young men, to be honest here, are struggling with like erectile dysfunction, hyperfeminization. Again, not being alphas. Like, man, I'm telling you, like alpha energy is gone.
Yes.
It's gone. And like, that's something, again, I'm a dominant woman in my life. I am an alpha sub, meaning I have to be alpha in my life. But I don't want to be alpha in pursuit. And it's like a lot, this is what we're talking about pegging. We're talking about like reversal and roles. That's all fine if that's what you like. But I miss like old style, passionate, like a man's energy, like his vitality, his masculinity. And I'm not talking about like masculinity, like walking up to a bitch and be like, you know, I'm talking about like raw, like something that comes from your testosterone, something that comes from like your primal energy. I don't see this anymore. When I was in my 20s, I saw that a lot. My husband still has it. but I don't see this like masculine presence as much anymore. And it sucks because for me, like, I love that. Like, that's just part of like gender dynamics that I really like. So I want to know your thoughts on it.
No, you know what? I'm gonna say that I definitely do agree with you that, you know, I'm starting to see a decrease in it. Like, so many people want to just be like, oh, well, you shouldn't say that, or, you know, you should just be more respectable, where my whole entire rhetoric is like, fuck that shit. This is how I roll. You understand what I'm saying? And it's weird because it's like when you downplay the masculine, it kind of like, you know, I'm looking at dudes like, really? Like, what you mean? This is the greatest part about being a man. It doesn't mean that you're disrespecting women. You just establishing your territory mark.
Yeah, and I think women react to that too. We
right.
always want to play the man. Sometimes we're put in the position to. But
and it's like, because this is the thing I notice about myself that I like. It's like, yeah, I might curse like a sailor, right? But it's just like this one time I just had regulated a woman on something, you know, that I had an interest in. I was like, I don't like that shit. This is how we gonna do it. And she was like, okay. You know what I mean? Because it was like, I like the fact of the matter, I'm still reserved. I'm still on that. This is my masculinity. Respect that. If you don't like it, leave. And the femininity of a woman, you know, there's certain attributes to a woman I like that might be a little masculine. You know what I'm saying? Certain things that's kind of like, okay, that's sexy. You know what I mean? But when it's overbearing and you're challenged at towards a man, no, I don't like that shit. You know what I mean? And too many of these guys out here, they're kind of just like too laid back on it. You know what I mean? They're just like, no, you know, because it's all about what the woman wants and blah, blah, blah. It's like, nah, yo.
Yeah, but sometimes a woman wants you to have a position.
Yes.
Wants you to challenge her. Like, I call it in the DS space too, we call it being bratty. I don't know if you ever heard of being a brat.
Yes.
But a brat will be like, a sub will be like, I'm going to test this man to see if he's actually a dom, or like that he's dominant. It's the alpha. And we become bratty. Like, we test to see if they're willing to go there. Now, I'm not saying being rude or abusive, but I'm saying, will they yield or will they stand? And that, like I said, in the DS community, that's called, like I said, it's like testing power boundaries. And a sub really likes it when a man like claims his space. Like, this is my space. Like, this is how I want to run my life. This is how I want to run my sexuality. This is what I like. And a woman can naturally be like, he's a man, not a boy. He's a man. He knows what he wants. Because women don't know, like, we always say we want a woman's the neck. Sometimes we want men to make decisions and we will fucking follow it. But you got to show us that you are a leader and that you're able to follow through. And that's the other thing is, like, with the feminine quality, it's like, man, I don't want to be your man. I want to be your woman. Like, and I know people are like, oh, your personality is so strong. It's like, yes, but when I'm in the presence of a man, I assume my position.
But you know, Phoenix, a quality that I might like from a woman like you is the passion. Yeah. You understand? The passion of, like, how you go with it. Like, that's something I might like. You know what I'm saying? I might be like, damn, I like that shit. Because, like, no matter how, like, emotionally based or how it would be, like, you're letting that off. And I'm like, okay, I'm listening. Not like you're going to cry afterwards. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, and not to say, like, that's a trait that might be, like, it may seem masculine, but no.
It's perceived, it's perceived as masculine because it's semi-domineering, like, meaning I do own a component of my space, so there's a dominant component to that. But it comes from a place of like honesty with myself and who I am, and identity, and I'm rooted in myself.
And you know what's wrong with that? Because certain men may think that's just like a bitch prototype.
Yeah, but
it's like, it's not though. There's a difference. It's a difference. It's a difference when, you know, a woman is just being an asshole and being a bitch versus a woman that's just kind of like, okay, that passion, I like that passion.
Yeah.
And even still, when you come towards a real man, you know that you're not gonna really try to overbear him with that.
No, and I don't want to. Like, that's the other thing that's funny. You know, all these people make up perceptions about how weak my husband must be and how he's a beta. And we laugh because my husband's in the other room right now. Like, he hears everything I say. Let me tell you this. My husband's like, we're leaving. We're going. I'd be like, Bronzebird, I gotta go. Why? Because he's my, like, that's
right.
But like,
That's right.
space to be myself. He loves me. He knows who I am.
And
But
he
I would never
trusts you.
challenge him if
Yeah.
he wants to do something, because he's the man of the house, period, end of fucking story. And he can hear that. And he's right there. Like, and that's kind of the difference between control. Like, that's what I'm saying is, like, a lot of men are very insecure. Like, they'd be like, I'd never let my wife or my woman ever exist in men's spaces because we all know who men are. Well, don't you trust your woman to also know who she is, what her boundaries are? You should trust her to know that that's the man of the house and that she has rules, she has boundaries, and she's going to respect your rules and boundaries.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Like, that's the way it should be.
Yes.
But not everybody gets to see that because we're also in the online space too much. And
yeah, in the online space, they like, well, this is how it is, and your man is a cuck.
I know.
Like, what the fuck?
I know.
Like, hold on, dude.
Can we talk about cuckolding? Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't like that, and I don't know anybody who does that. Have you? Do you really know a cuck? Because I don't.
No, I don't know any cucks at all.
That's like the shit plate. Like, I've not met somebody who's actually into cuckolding. I've not met them. Not in that space.
I'm not comfortable with that. Like, just like, I'm not comfortable with the idea, like, I would watch my woman getting plowed out by another
Yeah,
man.
but you also realize it's not about the woman. So that's the other thing that I actually read up about.
What is
When I was called it Bronzebird, I had no idea what it was. Like, the actual term, I was like, what the fuck are they? This is like, obviously years, a year ago. When
Right.
this shit started. So I looked it up, and I read a really interesting article about cuckolding has nothing to do with the woman.
It has to do with
It's two men competing with each other.
But okay. But let's break it down like this.
Sure.
So I can understand a man, the husband that is, the husband that's just looking, or the husband that allows it. He gets a high off of it, right?
Does he though? Like, that's what I can't figure out.
But that's what I'm trying to figure out, because it's like he allows his woman to have sex with another man, right? And
but it's not even so much that he wants to watch it, because you can say, hey, you're in an open relationship, go,
Right.
Whatever. But I mean, he actually wants his wife to be objectified by a man who he's getting pleasure off, because he's getting pleasure off the guy.
Okay, that's what I'm. Okay, so, but that's the thing that I'm questioning, right? So he's getting a high off of his woman having sex with that man, right?
But isn't it humiliation though? Because
you just read my mind. You just read my mind on that. Because now I'm thinking to myself, the reason he gets a high off of that is because he likes seeing his wife humiliated in that way.
Yeah, but is the wife being humiliated, or is the
wife
husband being humiliated?
But this is the okay. But now we have to explore the mental mindset now.
Okay.
Now the thing about it is, the wife could think in her mind, my husband is not fucking me right now, but this man is.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm trying to understand the complexity in that, because the woman is like, okay, I had sex with my husband, but now I'm having sex with this random man that my husband approves of, right? So
yeah, but in the same room, that's a big difference. There's that power play there. That's power, right?
But this is the but Phoenix, you see how we don't get the complexity in that.
I know.
We don't, because I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, the man is sitting here watching his wife getting plowed out by this man, right?
Yeah.
So he's just kind of like, is this okay? Two things can go off of this. He might just be like, okay, I'm watching my wife getting humiliated, right?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it could be a lesson for him to say, oh, this is how this is how my wife likes to get fucked. Next time I fuck her, I'm gonna fuck her just like this.
That's the other thing I was wondering about the power play, is like almost like if this guy can bring something as they call him a bull, I guess. If the bull can bring something to the stag that the bull, like the power, it's crazy. But see, that's what, when people call me this shit, my husband and I look at each other like, we're not, like, that's not even that would be so fucking detrimental to our relationship, because of our intimacy, because of the way that we interact in our relationship, just because of who we are. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, reading each other's minds, to have that that would be, for us, that's a violation. Mm-hmm. That's a fucking violation. Now, like I said, do we have play space? Do we have, like I said, a non-traditional setup where we can have external emotional relationships in a more non-traditional way of our relationship? Absolutely, because that's our fet. Mm-hmm. But there is never anyone allowed in our relationship. Like, we are a one-to-one match in relationships. And I think that's what I said is when you talk about complexity, people like immediately go to, like I said, whatever's the flavor of the month. And it feels like with open relationships, it's cuckolding. With individual relationship, it's pegging. Do you get what I mean? It's like the flavor of the extreme.
Yeah.
Because I never was raised with that. Like when I was in my 20s, like you talk about threesomes, that was like edge play when I was in my 20s. Like, oh my God, you could have a guy with two girls. It was never a girl with two guys, by the way. It was always a guy with two girls.
But see, I was talking about this offline. Now, the thing about it is this. I don't know if it's a double standard or whatever, but like obviously you understand the dynamics, right? So two girls, one guy is a train. Two
Wait,
girls.
is it what? You were breaking away. Is it what now?
So when it's two guys and a girl having sex, that's called running a train, right? But when
that's a three. I thought a train was multiple men hitting.
No.
Like having. Okay, wow, you're real.
No.
Okay.
No. So this is the thing. So when it's two girls, one guy, that's a threesome, right? But when it's two girls, one guy, two guys, one girl, that's called running a train.
Okay, got
So now, if you're saying multiple guys, and are you saying one girl or multiple girls, or it's
I'm
just?
saying think of a threesome. So a threesome can be a component of one man, two women, or two men, one woman.
Right.
Or, I mean, and then if you're homosexual, it'd be three women or three men. But let's just use the bi-directional, right? Right? Like, okay, you gotta, one dick, two pussies, two dicks, one pussy.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And you're talking about the double standard and the way it's labeled, because when I think threesome, this is my old self here, it almost always visualizes one guy, two girls.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you said multiple. Did you said multiple guys and one girl? You still consider that?
Well, I was raised that wasn't a threesome. To your point, that's more of a, like, that's not heard of. Like, that wasn't, when I was younger, if somebody said, hey, do you want a threesome? If a guy walked up to me and said, do you want a threesome? Mm-hmm. If I was, 22 years old, I would have automatically assumed he's talking about fucking him and a girl, not fucking him and a girl. When I was young. Now, you have to ask, because the threesomes now that I see people like interacting in, it could be any combination of anybody.
Okay. Well,
Does that make sense?
No, that makes total sense. Yeah.
It's like a socialization change.
Right.
And almost everyone young now, I mean, like some of these people in the FET community, like that are young, they've almost always experimented with threesomes, like usually traditional threesomes, like a man with two women.
No, I haven't.
It's fun. I don't know what your age is, but like it's something that, at least down here in Florida, it seems to be pretty popular. I know when I lived in Miami, they have like FET life down there. There's a big Miami culture of like, there's a swinging culture in Miami.
And I mean, I know in New York, like they're just very expansive with the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I know it for sure. It's just like me. I've just been a traditional guy, just like have sex and this, that, and the third, whatever. But like, no, I haven't had a threesome. Like, have I been asked before? I'm like, yeah, but then the partner just never really came through and did it.
Asked by a guy. Was it a girl?
Whoa, I was asked by a girl.
No, I was asking.
No, yeah. I was asked by a girl I was interested in. You know what I mean? But it never fell into fruition because we just never went to, you know what I'm saying, look for like the other part.
Was she bisexual, or was it more about she wanted to just have like, because again, here's the other thing that's kind of weird. When I say weird, meaning it's something you kind of have to kind of explore more. It's more complex. Not all women that have threesomes are bisexual. They don't, because sometimes it's two women pleasing a single man, not necessarily pleasing each other. And so the fetish really comes down to the man fulfilling the man's desire to be with two women. So the two women participating aren't necessarily about the girls for each other. They're about fulfilling the fantasy for the man.
Okay, yeah, I totally understand that for sure. Yeah, I agree with that. As far as I'm concerned, she had told me she's bisexual.
Okay, so she actually wanted to please the woman during the experience.
Yeah.
She wanted to have a fully vetted 360 between the two of them.
Yeah, she had told me she's bisexual. So, I mean, we just never got the woman to get involved. So, that happened or whatever. But, I mean, look, if it was offered today, I wouldn't have a problem with it. you know, I'd be like, okay, let's go ahead and get this
Well, as a
done.
man, though, I'm curious. I mean, that's pressure, right? I mean, as a guy, that's some pressure to have to like pay attention to two women. And I mean, I don't know how you feel as a traditional man. Obviously, if a woman's bisexual, she's going to be doing things to the other woman. I mean, does that create a headspace issue for you, or is it more something like, hey, the girl, this is a one-time thing. This isn't, you know, what's your thoughts?
In my thought process, I don't think that I would really feel pressured about it. I mean, I mean, I can get where I can come to a stumble in the road because it's like if I'm paying attention to two women at one time.
Yeah, that seems like,
right?
like a lot of work.
And so
guy,
it that's why I feel like certain positions have to come into play with this, right? Because the thing about it is, one woman is going to be on the side. What is the most she's going to do? She might just start licking on a woman's nipple, or start licking, or touching on me or caressing me, or stuff like that. But like, it's still that factor. How I would like to please both women at one time.
Gotcha.
Simultaneously. That's what I would like to do. So if that means that one woman is riding reverse cowgirl and I'm getting like my face sitting or whatever, that's fine with me. You know what I mean? That's fine with me because I know at the end of the day I'm still being pleased in one way or another, and both of the women are too.
Yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
amazing though how socialized it's easy to talk, like, because you don't think gay in the picture. But the minute a woman says that exact same scenario, and I'm not that woman, but I'm just kind of throwing in like that kind of like double perspective. If you're sitting there listening to a woman say, hey, I want a dude to, double DP me, right? Like, and here's two dudes I like we immediately go, those two dudes have to be gay to do that.
Oh, at the same time, because their thing is touching together?
Yeah, like because they're two men in a sexual case, even if they're both pleasing the woman, think of the scenario, but you almost, like, same thing with the pegging, like you immediately go to, okay, a straight dude would never be fucking around another dude like that, right? It's perception. It's kind of this topic is interesting because I like to get other people's perspective on what they think.
And let me add on that too. Like, if it comes to threesome, like, no, I would not like to have another guy with me while I'm smashing a girl. Like, I don't know. Like,
you want to be an OPP, one penis policy. That's what
exactly. Like, that's what I want. I don't want the, you know what I mean? Like, I just want me and the lady or the two other ladies there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, no, I don't want the guy there, and it has nothing. I don't think it's a gay stuff in it. I just don't want another guy there. I just want to be my penis only, and then the women. You know what I mean? Like, that's just me.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think you're probably, representing the majority of men, which is interesting because if you're in a woman's circle, like I said, if you get like a whole group of women drinking wine together in a nightclub and you start talking these same kind of conversations, you would be probably not shocked, but women exposed to other women, their fantasies, and there are actually a lot of women that want kind of that threesome with a man, like two men that they like, that are heterosexual, that are all about them.
Now, I heard that from a woman before.
But it's interesting because when you merge, kind of co-gendered conversation, women shut the fuck up when they're in the presence of a bunch of men, because if they say that out loud, they're going to be like, oh my God, you're either a whore or gay men. So it's interesting how it's perceived across, like, again, women will talk to women, men will talk to men, but the minute you get men and women together, it's like this whole dance starts because you don't want to be shamed, right? You don't want to be shamed,
Right. And they don't want to be, exactly what you said, they don't want to be labeled, like, because I automatically, you'd be like, oh, that girl's a slut,
Yeah.
Like.
The slut label's hard for me, though, because for you, Bronze, but where's the balance? Like, you're in men's circles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in your perspective, this is especially for young men, when do you say a woman is, like, what does that label actually mean? Because I get called it all the time, and I don't feel like I'm a slut. But again, like, what's your perception of when a woman actually becomes a slut?
To me, like, no, how do I say it? Because now I really want to make sure what I'm saying is true. Like, she has no sexual restrictions. Everything is just whatever, you know what I'm saying? She just has no moral compass when it comes to her sexuality, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, she's just like, okay, I can go ahead and just fuck one, like to the extreme. I could fuck one guy, right? I could fuck one guy and just leave the residue on my face.
Okay.
Leave my apartment and then go fuck the next guy 15 minutes later. You know what I'm saying? There is no break time. There is no let me take a break, or or she just likes her business being exposed in the street. She doesn't have no type of like cordialness about herself. Now this is not to say like this is what I mean. Conversations is important, right? Because a woman can be very honest about her sexual life. That's fine. And I understand us as men, we judge women on the quantity of sex partners they have, right?
Yeah, because I brought up an interesting scenario.
Yes.
Only that kind of made him step back, and nothing against him in a good or bad way. Like, that's what I mean. Like, it was just a scenario like, okay, let's play this out. And it's a scenario I don't think a lot of men think about. Because when they talk about mileage, it was like, well, I could be having, again, in a marriage, my mileage is very, very high. I have sex with my husband a lot. And, and even with our external, it's very, very, like, I mean, 1 in a million kind of situation. And so that's what I'm getting at is it's like, well, am I being judged on the quantity or the quality of my partner, right? You see what I mean? Like it changes the framework of the
right. And and it's the quantity, right? Because if a woman says confidently she had over 100-something sex partners, then honestly it's like guys are gonna say, yeah, that girl's a hoe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she's a hoe, and plus she was sitting up there having abortions with these nonsense dudes. Like, she has no self-control. So I think on my odds it's the idea about moral compass. You let your business be spread out in the streets. You know what I'm saying? You don't care. You have no, you know what I'm saying? You don't think about things like that. You're just like, yeah, whatever. I can fuck whoever I want and just da-da-da-da. And people know. You're news. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no okay, let me not try to say this all out loud and people all know my business.
To violate women's privacy that way too, because that's something that I do struggle with sometimes. Is like even with my situation, I got outed. I didn't necessarily want to come in and spill my beans, but I got misrepresented, and then I felt like I had to take a stand to make sure that the truth was reconfirmed. Does that make sense? So
right. Yeah.
There is a little bit of delicacy there of like bros wanting to be bros, right? Bros before hoes, and suddenly you get in a circle and it's like, oh yeah, I tapped that shit. But they don't also put any context behind it. Because you could say, yeah, I tapped that shit 9 years ago. We were in high school, we were dating. Like, that's what I mean is like, I totally understand what you say, but I also feel like sometimes women get put in a position where they can't win. Like, you can't win. Like, it's like, I want to be sexual, I want to be exploratory, but it's like every person has a slightly different perspective of what's going to qualify me as a whore.
For example, the bro code of like, if that dude smashed that girl, you don't smash that girl.
Yeah, but I struggle with that because what if, like, again, there's a time period to that? Or what if the person that you smashed, you just weren't compatible with, and then you find out 2 years later, like, fuck, I really like this woman, or I really like this man. Like, that's the struggle. That's I got old. I'll be honest, as I've gotten older, I know where your mindset is, but that just as a kind of feedback from an older woman here. I've kind of changed my perspective in that area because I think it's scenario based.
Yeah,
again,
it's like if the two guys like me and that guy know that girl, he went ahead and had sex with her. He told me like, "Yo, bro, I smashed, bro."
But
and
what
it's
if
kind of like
one night stand and you really liked her?
See, and I said, but and it's ironic about that because with the bro code, I'd be like, "Look, listen, bro, I'm not gonna lie. I would like to smash. Do I have?" It's kind of essentially like, "Yo, do I have your blessing?" And he's like, "Yeah."
The woman is property now, and she doesn't.
Yeah, right.
Like it's tough. Like, and that's why I love having this conversation because you're being brutally honest, and this is the space that needs to happen. Like, we need to talk about this because as a woman, I'm sitting back going, bitch, I get a choice here. Like, maybe I want to fuck both of y'all. Like, why am I being, like, it's not like a fucking meat deli where you get to take a number. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like,
right.
Well,
and that's the difficult part. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, you fuck my man though. It's like, but I didn't fuck you though. You know what I mean? It's like, but if I really find her attractive and I'm like, yo, I want that, it's just kind of like, should I go to my man to be like, look, listen, Yo, you smash that, but I want to smash too, bro.
It's like you're asking him permission, like he owned her pussy just because he loves her. But I'll tell you, women don't do that. Like okay, maybe they do. I don't want to speak for all women. Let's just speak from my experience. I have never, like, if I liked a dude and I found like 2 years before, like 3 months before, whatever, okay? If I was single in that situation, I never go to my girl and be like, hey, do you own that dick? Like, I know you fucked him 3 months ago, but I really like him. Like, do I have permission? You see what I mean? Like, we don't talk like that. It's a totally different interaction of like ownership.
And that's why I mean, like, and with Phoenix, you see what I mean? Like, that's why the difference between men and women is so crazy, because men have more restrictions.
Yeah.
Women with y'all, like, yeah, we'll call y'all sluts and hoes and stuff like that. But with men, there's a restriction. Like sexually too, pegging, being called gay because you got pegged. And then let's even add on the fact of the matter, like, even when it comes to sexuality, like bisexuality. Like, in the men's world, a woman can be bisexual. Men don't have a problem with that, right? Yeah, it's attractive as fuck for a woman to be a bisexual. With men, it's not the same, right? So with a man is either straight or gay. There's no gray window. There's no gray area. And that's the crazy thing.
Even if he is bisexual, they're always going to assume that the man will take precedence, right? Like, meaning they may fuck a woman on the side, but they'll always be a gay man from like personality or relationship. They'll never
say, oh, he's just bisexual. As soon as he's like, but even if he tries to defend himself, men will just be like, nah, you're gay, bro.
Yeah, you're gay. They're like, well, that's the old joke is like, I know growing up, I was like, women can experiment, men, if they even go there, they're automatically labeled. Which is interesting because the statistics, this is a fun statistic. I don't know if it's fun, but it's again, a dynamic between experimentation, like experimentation of sexual, like same-sex experimentation. Men do it young. Like, they call it locker room experimentation. It's like the average age of a boy, it's not boy because he's not like a young boy. It's not like 5 or 6, but it's like 14 to 17 is the average age of where locker room experimentation may come in. Like, again, and I don't know all of the acts themselves, but it's the idea of when a guy may have had a same-sex experimentation. With women, it's in college, usually their junior to senior year, if they're in a college situation. If they don't go to college, it's still like 23 to 26. So women don't do it young. We're not like locker room curiosity.
I thought it would have been high school too.
It's not, though. Now, new generation maybe they need to update the research. But this research was like from 2010, 2009. It was, you know how like you do the Kinsey shit. They did like a whole like girls versus boys and experiment. And again, it doesn't mean that their identity is gay. Like, meaning they're not saying out loud that they're gay. They're saying, I had a homosexual experience, or I had an experimentation, or I was groomed by a situation. And they'll find that men are young, women are older. And I find it fascinating. I don't know why. I have no idea. But I did find the studies very interesting.
No, it is amazing. Like,
that you'll see like a guy say, hey, yeah, this guy touched my dick, or I tried oral, or I felt, a weird feeling with my best friend. And a woman will say, hey, I was in college, I was in my senior party, and we were all having a slumber party and shit happened. You know what I mean?
And then with women, like, you guys, y'all have no problem like doing regular shit like making out or something like that, just kissing or something like that. It means nothing to you.
Consider that gay? Like, do you consider, like, if you see two women making out on a couch at a nightclub, do you consider that homosexual activity, or just having fun and being experimental?
See, I would just assume they're just doing girly shit, unless it's like really a lesbian couple.
Yeah, because I think women have more space to explore that, right?
The
world, without being labeled gay.
And that's what I mean. Like, what I would assume is they're just doing girly shit. It's just like when going to the club, right?
Yeah.
When women dance on each other, like, when they're grinding and bumping and stuff like that. Nothing is gay about that to the man's psyche.
Yeah.
Nothing is. Like, women can just go ahead and grind on each other and, dance on each other and stuff like that. And us men will be watching because we be like, damn. You know what I mean? Nobody bats an eye.
I'm definitely not gay. I don't have any feelings towards women. I never have.
Right.
And yet, like at the Fet Club, like at the latex, I have like 3 girls that will wear latex. I have one of my closest friends there, and she loves to grind up on me. Like when we're all wearing latex, dude, you lube that shit up. It is fun. Like it's fun. Like it feels good. Like it's like, and the music's thumping, and it's like, yeah. But I'm not like sexually turned on by them. I'm like just feeling the music. Like I'm just in it, you know, and having a good time. And I've never been, but in that environment, I'm not perceived as gay. Like it's
But Phoenix,
space, you know?
but that's what I mean though, because regardless if it's like that type of setting, like that type of club, or like if we're just saying a regular old club, it's second nature.
It is. It's
you know what I mean? Women are not. It's on both sides, because men are not going to sit up there and say, "Oh, they're lesbians." And women are not going to say, "Oh, I totally, definitely am doing something that's like homoerotic with my friend."
Yeah, but you're right. If 2 guys start grinding on each other, it's over.
Yeah, like if it's 2 guys.
like an hour. I'm never going to be able to see this shit again. I'm going to go out.
Like, yeah, like, and it's like, if I ever seen 2 men grind on each other, they definitely were gay. You know, there was never 2 straight men that grinded on each other in the club. That never happened.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Wedding, you might see 2 drunk guys at a wedding trying to like just be shitheads and shit and do shit. Like that's like its own category. You know?
And see, that's a boundary also, because now the whole entire conversation about like sexual jokes come in. Because we all know that happens, right? Like, like 2 guys that just like say some homo stuff, or they might do stupid shit like grab each other's dick, like just to laugh and all that other stuff and giggle. You be like, "Dude, are you homo?" He's like, "No, bro, I'm not a homo, bro. Don't be a jabroni." And it's like, I was like, you see what I mean? Like, that's what I mean. Men have the like high standards and restrictions. Like, there's nothing wrong.
But they do have power though. Like, it's what we're talking about, power dynamics.
Yes.
They do have power to influence other men's behavior with women. So that's what I said. Like, you just talked about, like, well, you know, hey, this woman is off limits because I claimed her, or I fucked her, or, you know, even if she's dying to fuck you, you know, and now this dude's cock blocked you, pussy blocked him, you know, you see what I mean? Like, it's interesting, you know, it's an interesting dynamic. Or, like I said, the woman will be the slut. She's going to be the whore. And sometimes she just got to eat it. Like, sometimes she just
you got to eat it up, because no woman or nobody in the generation is saying, "Oh, that guy is a fucking hoe. He's a slut."
Not fucking all. He's
a player. He's a womanizer. You know what I'm saying?
You brought up that really interesting point about like perception of like a woman fucking a different guy every night.
Yeah.
Like I've got friends that get player points from like, hey, I hit this bitch at this club and then went home with her friends, and then like 3 days later, you see what I mean? Like, it's a totally different perception. But ultimately, there was somebody at the end of that cock. Like, there was somebody at the end of that. So, you know, you're like, well, and it is interesting. You know, I'm lucky I'm kind of out of some of the game. But for young men and women now, it is tough. Like, I admit, these things are complex. They're not simple. And again, you add robots to the mix. I can see why people sometimes check out. Like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go fuck Fifi tonight. Like, it's
go fuck Fifi.
I gotta make her first, but I've got time.
I gotta set it up. You know what I mean? To get all the materials, like do DIYs for Fifi. Like,
well, you know, like in like some of the sex shit, like, you know, they talk about like bull riding and shit. There's women. They have these. I do not have one. I will never use one. I feel like it would destroy me. But they have these, like, they're fuck machines, like for women, and it's like this pulsating motor with a dildo on it. And I'm like, who in the fuck designed this? This had to be designed by a man, because it's not what women would like. It like flips back and forth like at 50 miles an hour. You're just like,
what?
Yeah. I'll just send you the link.
What the hell?
And I'm like, this is not safe.
It's not like a pump, right?
Well, it's like it's an engineering like it, you know, it's supposed to mimic like entry and exit, but it has like a flip effect, like a flat back effect. And when you take it out, like when they show the demonstration, they have some fucking videos on YouTube. I just gotta find the name of it. And when they show it like at full speed without it penetrating anything, it is like it's like a drill bit, and you're just like, who the fuck did
How?
like
How? Like, but that's, yeah, like, how are they, like, 40, 50 miles per hour, and this chick is gonna actually get an orgasm off of that?
Yeah. Well, and that's the same thing when they talk about, like, dildos that are, like, 15, 20 inches. It's like women, like, fisting shit. Like, that's what I'm getting at. Like, some of this shit is novelty.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody other than porn stars in their pornos that are actually sticking some of that shit in areas that,
like a 10 to 15 inch big phallus,
yeah,
like how
box, you know, like you see.
they can't fit that all in there.
Oh,
like,
God.
no,
Like,
you can't fit that all in there. And
yeah.
I mean, like, I mean, the thing that I probably would
You're
enjoy.
gonna have to go to a surgeon, probably.
Yeah, you know, you're gonna have to see somebody about that because it might get stuck and something might happen. But I think the only thing that I had liked seeing, I guess they have the vibrator panties.
Now those are fun because if you're in DS and you're out to dinner with your spouse, they can fuck with you really bad, and it's great. Like that's part of that role play. Because again, think about it. You give the controller to your, like in your case, you've got the controller. You're out at dinner, a very sexy dinner with your girl. Mm-hmm. You know you're gonna have a later night. You can play with her without anybody knowing. I mean, think about it.
I love that shit.
That's what I mean. Like that's role play. That's fucking role play. You know? That's like what latex is about too. Like latex is very curvaceous. Like I post videos of myself, but like all of my latex is coverage. Like I cover, like I make like the cat suits, the long dresses, the corseting. But that's part of the fun. It's like my husband knows what's underneath. Like you don't have to see everything, but you see my, like, of course, some people say I don't have curves, but fuck them. I have my own curves. I have my own body. But that's what I'm getting at is like you can use fabrics, you can use lace, you can use latex. I don't know if you want to talk about shibari, if you have questions on shibari or rope play, because I am a rope bunny, so I can answer questions in that. Like these are areas to enhance pleasure before you're actually in a sexual case.
No, I get that, yeah. It's just really crazy how far they go with it. But damn, my laptop about to die out. But
no worries, no worries.
Fun conversation. Really appreciated you.
Yeah, and I'm sorry so other people didn't join. I hope I didn't intimidate anybody on the panel, or any other women that joined. Like, I just really wanted to represent kind of like, again, alternative lifestyle in a healthy way. Mm-hmm. And also Bronzebird, like answer any questions, like really legitimately create a safe space, at least for myself. But if you wanted to ask questions or collaborate.
Oh, yeah, I mean, if anything in the future, I probably could do part 2 to this or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And we can chop it up again and just go over everything.
Yeah, and like I said, if you have other questions or like, but I agree, robot talk, great. Yeah, I hopefully answered some of your questions on like some of the different categories and some of the different terminology. And it's just nice, like to everybody, honestly, anyone who listens to this, it is nice to know that like humans still exist and that this is like again, sex can be fun, but people are funner, right? Like it's part of a full pack.
And it's the energy that's very important that makes it fun.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
all right, well, have a great night. Thank you guys so much. And you know I'm supporting you, so I'll be, like I said, even if I'm still in the chat, you know you got me on your channel. So.
Oh yeah, thanks again, Phoenix. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, bye guys. Thank you.
Peace. All right, we got down and dirty when it came to the sex. It got sexy. I love everybody that came in, regardless if it's 2 viewers, 3 viewers, 10 viewers, 9 viewers. Thank you guys for coming to the Brownstone Powwow. Very informative and in-depth conversation. Yeah, so I'm about to go ahead and play the music before I go out. Sorry for earlier, I had some technical difficulties. So I'm gonna play the music, I'm gonna get out of here though. You understand? So, Pete.
See, God, it's like I have so much available to me and I lost so much. I can't escape saying my life is a tool. But in your image, I'm 3, and in the past, I was 6. Just wanna get nasty real quick. I say a prayer before I eat the box, be it KFC or a lady that I need to stop in the street cause she way sexy. Please let me play with your playtex each time it's bleeding. Give me a reason to be inside. Am I deep enough for you to be my bride? For me to creep inside and say she's enough. See, I gotta find out first 5 minutes if you with it. If I can hit the crib and dig in it like a box of KFC. Let me not play in the playoffs this week. We only in the preseason, which means the pre is breathing. The beauty of me, the beauty of seas, if she is sitting and sipping. Girl, swallow me down after you suck me off. Then wipe your mouth and then just kiss me soft. Girl, swallow me down after you suck me off. Then wipe your mouth and then just kiss me soft. We put the rated G to bed, rated PG when we're walking around instead of being seated in this PG-13 flick. Seen by all, amazing NC-17 we need to be tonight. My God, I understand you. Maybe I don't, maybe I'm laying with most, but I can hand you so much love for making me grow up and stuff. Grandma said protect yourself, but I don't want you to touch the glove. I want you to feel all of me. What are you calling me? My darling, please. I can't walk from thee. I want to make you say I can't walk, baby, please. Why you hit it so hard? It's because I'm all you need. Girl, swallow me down after you suck me off. Then wipe your mouth and then just kiss me soft. Girl, swallow me down after you suck me off. Then wipe your mouth and then just kiss me soft.
Turístico,